Welcome back, everyone, to the Sporting Chance podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Mountain State Falconry Supply.com, your home for your micro hawking needs.
What's up, guys? If you're anything like me and you like braided equipment, leashes, jesses, there's no better place than MidnightFalconry.com. Richard Moats puts a lot of effort into the finest, tightest braids that money can buy.
Listen, folks, now's the time. Heck, it might even be too late. Check out North Mountain Goshawks to secure your hunting partner for, inshallah, next season, but possibly the season after. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined today by Steve Kaufer.
Yep.
Okay. This is my first time meeting Steve. I wanted to make sure I got that right.
Yep.
Steve is a falconer. He's at the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Is that what you said?
I am. I'm a Chet. I grew up in Minnesota, but I moved over to Wisconsin back in 1990 when it was a lot cheaper to live over here. So I'm officially a Cheddarhead, but I'd say 85% of my hunting stuff's over in Minnesota.
And he came across my radar from these really awesome pictures that Casey sent me of your goshawks.
Yeah, it's literally the best photos that you've ever seen of goshawks and red tails chasing quarry. It's insane.
Thanks.
Absolutely insane.
Thanks. I think the hard part is taking the pictures while you're doing the hawking. It's easy to take other people, pictures of their birds doing stuff, but doing it at the same time. Trust me, I get people like, these pictures are amazing. I'm like, yeah, I got 4,000 that aren't, but they're blurry, or there's a hill in the way, or you follow along and you get the person in front of you. But yeah, thank you. I've
started one in particular he sent me his
19 years ago.
Chasing a mallard.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Which one?
You just sent me one that has a goshawk chasing a mallard.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I was being selfish. I was just hoarding all the ones that Steve sent for myself.
I literally have thousands of pictures.
They're so awesome. They're like insane. Is there somewhere where people can see these?
No, my idea at one point after talking to McDermott and a couple, I was going to put a book together, but I got 4 kids and we have two small businesses, and my wife has a real job too. So it's just been, I have them all on a hard drive, and I've got a couple hundred that I've really gone in and, cleaned up and made look really nice, but I've got thousands of them. And part of the thing about ducks that's so cool, I don't know where you guys want to go with this, but part of the thing about ducks is so cool. You know when it's going to happen. So you scoped out the creek, you're you're ready for the flush. So got the bird in one hand, the camera on the other hand on your shoulder, and I usually take a picture of a tree right in the other bank so it doesn't have to focus so hard. And then you flush them and, start spray and pray and hope to get it. And my old camera was 12 frames a second. This new one I got 32 frames a second up to 44 frames a second, which is insane.
Oh my gosh. That is insane. They're just getting better and better with these things, because the GoPro, they just came out with this new GoPro that's 970 frames a second. You can film 970 frames a second. So it's like that, ultra
slow.
You can probably get I haven't seen anybody do it yet. I was thinking about getting one, but they're, GoPros are not terribly expensive, like $500, but what am I going to, it's just like every other GoPro, except it has that feature. And how many times am I going to need to watch a bird leaving the glove, in ultra slow-mo?
Right. I did a thing with this gal out west. Basically, we were trying to show a more natural or green way to keep. She has a farm and she grows tons of flowers and all that. And they were doing a documentary with Magnolia Channel, Discovery Channel.
Nice.
And she asked if I would come on, do the birds or whatever. And they had this thing called a red dragon, I think. She actually had it shipped up from California. Discovery Channel did, and it was some ridiculous 75,000 frames a second.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And it was crazy, but it was they'd shoot it and it would take 3 minutes to buffer everything so you could see if you got the shot or not. So,
right.
Yeah.
It was one of those
I'm good. 32 frames a second is all I need.
Yeah. It's like one of those cameras they use on Mythbusters to see if something explodes or what it does when it, to bust a myth. But yeah, Red Dragon. Yeah. I mean, we have a Red
Casey,
Dragon.
you look like you could be a Mythbuster.
Yeah. We're busting myths on this show left and right, dude.
You got the look. You're got the reddish blonde hair and
just a crazed look in my eye.
But, that's actually kind of a question. I'm going to be the interviewer. What's a myth or something that you heard early on in your falconry career that later on you're like, well, that was just bullshit, or that was kind of, just something somebody did forever and never thought to go a different direction or whatever.
I mean, there's a million of them, right? I mean, there's goshawks can't hunt from trees. Goshawks can't take ducks from trees. You can't fly a goshawk unless you fly it 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Can't make a good imprint unless you do bags 24/7. That's the biggest myth I think that messes a lot of people up, is that you have to bag your imprint 5 times a day. I think that does way more harm than good.
Yeah.
And
what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I think you can overbag them. They get used to coming out of the bag and stuff. And I'll be honest with you, this bird I just got is I've only imprinted 2 birds. I've been flying birds since I've had a goshawk since I was 21, and my last bird died 2.5 years ago. So I haven't imprinted one in a long time. I've flown several birds since that were train wrecks that somebody else gave me, or just gave me out of circumstance. And I was able to train them and get them in good shape and chase stuff with them. But I know the first 2 that I did bag them quite a bit, but we would go out hunting and have a good dog, get a couple of good flights, and bird would put a bird in. My dog couldn't find it or whatever, and I'd have a baggie and I'd slip it in the grass. So it would put in all the effort, flying a quarter mile, half mile, get a second flush, and then can't find it the last time. And then I'd give it a baggie. And as far as it knew, it caught it. So I was always rewarding the big effort versus just it's coming out of a launcher, out of bag in my backyard. So all my bags were in a hunting situation where I was building their confidence. They were building determination. I was building confidence.
Yeah. That's because there's nuance, because you have the understanding.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes if you read, some of the books, I think if you take it like a little too literally, I think it can, even a lure machines are great, but you
never use one. They look interesting.
No, they're great. I've used them plenty of times, but you can, like this last bird I had, this white bird, she was a great bird, but she caught plenty of game, whatever, was good bird. But I think I used that lure machine just too long, to the point where she knew that she could follow rabbits and kind of lazily follow them, and then she'd get it eventually. And then it was only after multiple slips that she'd realize all right, I gotta turn on the gas here. And then she would turn on the gas and catch it. But it was she would have to follow a couple of them before she would turn on the gas. And if I did it less, then she would just turn the gas on. I don't know. Yeah. I think all the tools that we have, like baggies, row crows, lure machines, I think there's nuance involved.
Yeah. And there's no silver bullet on any one of them. I don't know if you guys
I don't think so.
I think going back to one of the myths, I remember way back before I got my first goshawk, my friend Andy Weaver, he's also a falconer in Minnesota. He gave me this. It was a photocopied thing of this article Mike McDermott had written for, I think it might have been a hawk chalk or something. But he's talking about this Cooper's hawk and taking 300 starlings a year and taking 15 a day and stuff like this. And that was back in the day. My spots where it's you catch one, you reward the bird one and done. And so when I'm hearing this guy's catching all these, I'm like, that's a bunch of crap. There's no way. And then I started reading his method and stuff. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This seemed kind of cool. And so then I started taking, that's the first time I started taking multiples, and then I met Steve Layman. I don't know if you know much about Steve Layman. He was really into operant conditioning and physical conditioning. And one of his things, the first thing he did when he was in college was he got some prairie falcons. He had some injured ones, and he wanted to see if you could take an injured prairie falcon in a sterile, artificial environment, exercise it so strong that it would be as strong as a passage bird out in January, February, catching the same things and stuff. So that was my eyes into you can train them through their brain and not just their stomach. And so I really got into that. I mean, I only had one kid at the time. So I got kind of obsessed with it and stuff. And I was working the birds at 7 days a week. Even if we went hunting, caught 2 or 3 head, I'd bring them back in the bathroom and jump the living crap out of them. So they're just these massive, had such a huge machine on them. And I was just amazed that, I was talking to somebody else, you kind of get that bloodlust and want to see how much stuff you can catch and stuff. And I was talking to a guy last week on the way back from Reno, just trying to stay awake and stuff. And I said, I kind of felt bad for my last few birds, because there'd be a time where we'd go out and I'd be more interested in getting a good picture. So I'm making sure the light is right behind me. Not the best slip in the world for the bird.
Yeah.
She's probably not going to catch it, but it's going to make a really good picture. So going more for the quality of the flight and the quality of the pictures versus just racking up a head count.
Yeah, it's a balance.
Yeah.
It's definitely a balance.
Casey swings far the other way.
It's that's not 100% true. It's just it depends on the situation
and the time of your life too. You know, when I'm out with my kids, you know, I couldn't be out there all day. You know, I had to go out and catch a couple. That's why I sent you that one picture of my 3 oldest daughters at the same time. Cool. They all 3 had red tails, and I had a red tail and a goss. I've had a goshawk since I was 21, and we started throwing red tails when my kids got old enough to. And that actually made me step back and say, I think it was the first time I went with my daughter Shelby, and I think a bird caught a vole or something. She was just so happy. We went out, and the bird flew around, and it came home, rode back in the car with us, and I actually caught a vole. She was so excited to tell her mom about it. I was like, seeing it through her eyes, like that was the victory right there. This wild animal, our training together was enough that bird would come back to her and we could go do it the next day. And that actually did make me slow down and actually wound up getting another red tail for myself. And then my second daughter, then we got her red tail, and my third daughter. And at that time we had all 4 of us were flying red tails plus my one goshawk. And
it's awesome.
It was crazy, but it was fun as heck.
That sounds amazing.
So your 3 daughters were falconers as well?
They all flew birds on my permit. My fourth one.
Allegedly.
So you're breaking the law.
No, they're all my birds. They were just purchased.
Call the
cops. They were moving purchase.
Yes.
So
we got him.
Now my fourth daughter, she's actually going to be taking the test pretty quick here. So my fourth daughter was 7 years after my third daughter. So I've gotten an extra 7 years of having another kid to be around and, you know, go up hawking with her. And she loves it. She's like her oldest sister, who I think it was 7th grade. My oldest sister asked me if she could, 8th grade. She said, Dad, can I stop playing basketball? I was like, why? I like going and living vicariously through you and taking pictures. And she goes, well, I just want to go fly birds with you. And I'm like, well, yeah, twist my arm. So her after school sport was falconry. And then the middle 2 daughters, I told them if it gets too busy and I'm doing all the training and I'm keeping them ready to go for the weekends and all that, then, you know, we're letting your birds go. And that's what happened with both of them. They flew them from like 7th grade to 10th grade, got into drama and, you know, basketball and boys and stuff. So then, you know, we let their birds go. But my last one now, this will be her 5th year with this bird. So
that's awesome.
I mean, it's my bird, but it'll be the 5th year of her helping me train it. And then throw in there too, I'm only an hour from the Raptor Center at the University of Minnesota. And I myself have probably rehabbed over 50 birds, but the girls with me probably rehabbed about 24 birds. So they got to see peregrines and merlins and all kinds of different, we hacked out a bunch of little screech owls here and stuff. So they've got to see all these different birds growing up. And they thought it was normal for every kid to have a raptor in their house.
Yeah. That's one of the things when you chat, speaking of Steve Layman, that's like his big thing that he's on now is how falconry with your family can really enrich your children's lives and like give them an amazing, like, you know, childhood and bring them along, you know, cool adventures that most kids don't get to go on. And I couldn't agree more, at least for myself.
Yeah, my grandpa once told me that he said, you know, someday when you have kids, if you keep your kids in the woods, get your kids in the woods, you'll keep them away from everything else. It's true.
It is true. Yeah. I think I would have been
a lot of homeless
kid.
people here in my woods.
Well, get them to do brush beating for you. I'll give you a pack of smokes if you beat them.
Yeah. No, they don't want smokes. They want something else.
Best I could do is leave me alone. One couple, I gave them an Amazon gift card or a Walmart gift card for being like tidy and respectful of the woods they were staying in.
Okay.
At Christmas time, I hung it up on a bag and tied it to a tree. Because you could tell they genuinely were, you know, dealing with hard times, and their camp was immaculate. It wasn't like the others where it's like, you know, pee bottles and cans and trash laying everywhere. It looked like they were camping for the weekend. They were living there.
And then you went back the next week and they were both OD'd in their tent.
Like they traded the gift card for cash.
Aaron's encouraging the degeneracy by
my dog's in there chewing their fingers off. I come in and they're like rigor mortis fingers are chewed down to nubs because my dachshunds have chewed them off.
Yeah, homeless people are. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know which ones are safe or trustworthy. You know,
right?
They're fine for me, but I'm a 6'2", 220-pound guy, so they generally leave me alone.
They're not scared of you, dude. They're not scared of you.
Yeah. 2 years ago was the first time we actually ran into a couple big tents in the woods down by the one town that we hunted or whatever. And it was abandoned. There's 2 tents there, and there's crap laying everywhere, and a couple suitcases, actually a couple bikes too. I don't know if they stole them, but it was roughly a mile from Walmart. So I'm sure they're just getting supplies and coming back by the railroad and stuff. And then they disappeared. And it was all still there again this year, all dilapidated, but that's the first time I've ever seen that. So,
yeah.
So
Every time
I don't even know, Aaron, what do you fly?
A little of this, a little of that. I try and fly goshawks, but it's always a challenge having a goshawk.
Mm. That's a myth.
Another myth.
They have ways of killing themselves and ending their careers. Do. So last year I flew a red tail all year and had the time of my life. This year I've got a imprint goshawk I'm raising and the same red tail from last year.
It's not just an imprint.
Where's the goshawk from?
It's from up north, from the wild.
I mean, imprint right now?
Yeah, I'm raising it right now. We pulled it from a nest.
Okay.
First time for Aaron.
Yeah, first time wild goshawk.
Did you climb?
No, I didn't climb that tree.
Oh.
Not that one. Guy climbs like a spider monkey, this guy. You should see him.
Yeah.
That's you look like a tall guy too, Steve.
Yeah, I used to be 6'3", about 6'2" now. I had to have back surgery, so I'm a little shorter. Plus, I'm 60. So,
how tall do I look, Steve?
Well, your chair is taller than you, so. So I don't know. I'm guessing you're 5'10".
We'll go with that. There, that's
he likes it. You're flattering him.
Yeah. Well, I might come up there hawking there someday, so
Okay.
Gotta lay the groundwork.
You flatter him, yeah.
Yeah,
he's 5'10" wide.
Yeah. 5'10" wide.
So you got to be. How old's your bird?
My bird?
Yeah.
What do you think it is, Casey? It's probably.
I don't know. You knew exactly the day when we pulled it. They were 8 days old, roughly. So it's got to be 25.
Okay.
28, 30.
I was thinking 30, 31 days was my guess.
Could have just kept
Hang on
track.
1 second. I'll be right back. I can only do this for a second, though, because of the cramps and else.
No problem. Yeah, the way you scampered up that tree, Aaron, I was very impressed. I did not expect
these big gorilla limbs, they'll do it.
I did not expect that.
Look at that. Oh, you got a little one.
Yeah, she's 14 days today. 14 days today.
He or you said he?
She.
Yep. Oh, she. Oh, I thought it was a Tiercel.
Well, we just got the DNA back. I got to get her back on the drop cloth if she craps in here in trouble.
Oh, yeah. That looks like the entertaining room there where you entertain the company.
It's a beautiful room.
Well, I usually keep it out in the barn just about breaking house so it's so cooler. But no, it's a Albitus female and a Sierra Nevada, a Sierra male goshawk. So,
so it's a North American Albitus.
Right.
Ooh, spicy.
The white birds weren't donating yet when she was getting broody, so he started putting semen from the Sierra goshawk in, and then 7 days before she laid her first egg, the white ones did. So he put semen in for 7 days before the first egg was laid. Yep. And then the second one was, 2 days later. So 9 days from the last time he put North American semen in, and that's the one that caught that egg.
Wow.
So we'll have to see. I guess, I wanted a female at first, but then I wanted a male white one. And then, so I kind of got a male North American with a white female. We'll see what it does.
And who bred that bird?
Lou Souter out of Sierra Shortwings out of Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We want to get him on the show. Did he make anything else this year?
No, that's the only one he made. He had his one Albitus. Somehow, for some reason, she crushed and broke all 3 eggs.
Oh man.
So yeah, you got to put these. Oh yeah, yours is 28 days probably, huh?
Yeah.
And it's a Tiercel. I have a lot of squirrels, so I was hoping for a female, but
yeah, it's all right.
Beggars can't be choosers.
No.
It's not every day you get a wild taken goshawk. So
yeah. I climbed. It's been a long time since I climbed, but I climbed for several people for years and stuff. And then it is easier just to drive and pick them up. Plus, I bred birds from 99 until 2015.
Really?
Yeah, I produced, I want to say 42 or 43 birds.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Those years.
Were those like your Falconry birds that you just wanted to see
I had one falconer bird. I had one falconer bird. She was laying eggs, and then Meg Robinson lives about 3.5 hours south of me, and she had a semen donating male. So I made a bunch of trips down there and picked up semen to see if we could. This is back in '99 to see if we could do it long distance, because rumor had it that the semen just didn't live that long. And lo and behold, we caught one of the 3 eggs and made a tiercel. And so a friend of mine had a 2-year-old tiercel that he gave me and to start using, because I'm like, I'm not doing that drive anymore. And so he gave that bird to me. So I gave him the tiercel I made. And I always say I'd rather be lucky than smart, because I was trying to get the bird to breed. I had no idea what I was doing. And I put my hand through the bars, and I come over to look at my hand, they would just attack the crap out of my hand. And after like 4 or 5 times that, I was like, this is not going to work. So the funniest thing was I took the back leg of a rabbit, threw it in there for food and walked away. As I'm walking to the house, I hear it wailing and making noise, and like it's breeding. I'm like, what the hell? So I go back and look in there. The rabbit leg landed this side up, so the white part of the leg was there. So it was like on there humping the white part of the leg. And I was like, well, maybe it is a visual cue too. Maybe there's a white visual cue. So I went in the house and I got a white washcloth the next day, and I walked from a distance. I kind of flashed at him. He started chuffing me. He turned around. He put his plumes up in the air and flashed me back. And so I did that for a couple of days to get him all amped up, and went over, and he just turned into a tame kitten and jumped down and started mounting. I'm like, you got to be kidding.
That's awesome.
So, and then I called Layman and told him, he goes, well, yeah, you think about it. The falcons have that big visual flight out in the middle of nowhere where they can see stuff. And woodland raptor, you got to be able to see that big white plume from a distance where she's going to say, hey, I'm ready now, or no, I'm not ready. And and I got semen out of him for, what it was, 14, 15 years. And
it's great.
So I don't think there's any birds left of all the birds I made. I flew one of her daughters for the last 5 years. That's one that just died. I mean, I flew the one bird for 19 years. And the other one bird for 9.
You had a goshawk for 19 years?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she, we don't want to talk, and go on the whole head count thing, but it was, almost several thousand head with her and a lot of ducks, because in '07, she got West Nile virus and got blind in one eye. And I remember them saying, well, she's a breeder now. And so for that year, I put her just as a breeder only. And I got a goshawk from a friend of mine to fly that year. Best goshawk ever on pheasants. That bird was freaking amazing. I think it was 60 some pheasants that bird caught. It was just all the way into February, late season pheasants, and all wild. And then I thought, forget it. I'm going to see if she can do it. So I started flying her the next year on ducks. And I'm fortunate, I think I told you, Casey, I've got 3 trout streams within 15, 20 minutes of my house that in the winter, when the power plant has got a huge population down there now, sometimes it's shut down one of the reactors and the ducks have to go to the creeks to feed. And once the ice shelf on the river gets too far out, they can't go back to the river and eat. So they're always coming out here. And she specialized in ducks. That's why I have so many good duck pictures.
Yeah.
I can drive up and down look across all the little bridges on each. We just do the circuit. It takes about an hour to go up and down all 3 rivers or creeks, and you go back, keep doing it back and forth and stuff, and racked up a lot of ducks, a lot of catch and release too. A lot of times you catch them, you get to them so quick and they're on their back and they haven't hurt them, and turn
Did
them
you ever
loose.
catch and release a duck, Casey?
The closest I ever got to doing that was I caught a black duck, and my freezer was beyond number one, my limit, and beyond capacity. And I thought about it. That was the closest I ever got. Allegedly, yeah, but they can't catch me now. I realized that when I made a post like an idiot on social media of my freezer, and somebody was like, yeah, you're really not supposed to have that many ducks in your freezer. And I was like, oh shoot. So I took it down, and then we caught a black duck the next day.
It's a stupid law.
It is stupid, especially when you're a falconer, you got birds to feed. And I looked at the black duck and he looked at me and I thought about it for a split second.
I've only got two black. I caught 2 black ducks. I never shot one. I gun hunted my whole life as a kid and in my early 20s, but never shot one. But I got 2 in the same week with the goshawk.
Yeah, because you're up. You're northwest-ish, right?
I'm west central, right on the border of Minnesota. The Twin Cities of Minneapolis is an hour almost due west of me.
Yeah, so I'm on the eastern flyaway, and we get a ton of black ducks. A ton.
Yeah, we don't get that many here. So. Yeah. And then I've gotten 9. I think I've caught 9 banded ducks. My daughter made me a bracelet with all the bands on it.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Never shot a banded one, but I caught 9 of them with the birds. So
did you do all the whole 9 where you put it in the computer and see where it was banded and all that?
Yeah, and the first one I called in, they're like, well, because I caught it like in January. Like, we don't have a thing for it. You can hunt that in January. We don't have a thing in our spreadsheet. I'm like, well, that's not my problem. I said to call in, and so
Yeah.
so
Like,
I
listen,
go
yeah.
and look, but I wouldn't report them after that because they gave me so much guff. I'm like, it's not my problem. Your spreadsheet doesn't go into January, February.
Yeah, these biologists, man, they got some balls on them nowadays. They get out of college, they get indoctrinated, and they think they're going to solve crime when they're supposed to be studying wildlife.
All
Say,
right.
listen. Just look up the number. Do me a favor, look up the number. All right.
I trapped a red tail that was banded. That was cool for me. Yeah, it was banded so it was trapped in North Carolina and was banded in Pennsylvania several years before.
Oh, cool.
That's
cool.
cool.
I don't think I've ever been. I go trapping quite a bit. We're right on the flyway for the birds. I go trapping quite a bit on the river with Dave Noble and Joe Crumry. And I don't think I've ever caught a banded one. But so I take the kids out of school sometimes if the weather's going to be right. We just go off and go trapping for the day because this is a blast.
It's so fun. Yeah, trapping's the best.
What kind of trapping situation are you doing? You said river on a blind. Is that what you're doing?
You're about 200-300 feet above the river. And they get blown over from Minnesota and they hit our bluffs on that side. So they ride the bluffs all the way down the thing. So you can see them a long ways off and glass them and see if you want to pull the string or not.
Right.
There have been, I don't know how many caught. I think the most I've ever caught in one day was like 50 some Cooper's hawks and stuff when they're just flying. And you're just catching for fun.
Yeah.
Goshawks there?
I've never caught a goshawk down there. 2 peregrines. Beautiful. One really gorgeous peregrine. Most of us go down there to catch red tails. Stuff. Red tails are peregrines, but we catch a lot of stuff in between there. So,
have you ever caught an interesting looking red tail?
Yeah, I had a really super light one, and I thought, hey, I'm going to keep that because it might be. It wasn't a Kreider's, but it was really light, and it turned out being just like every other red tail. So,
yeah,
bolted into a normal red tail,
a regular, a white throat. A friend of mine from Alaska, stopped here on his way through last year and was hawking, and he had a gorgeous, really dark red tail. And he looked at mine and he goes, oh, yeah, you got one of those white-throated red tails. I'm like, what do you mean white-throated? You looked at his. Yeah, his didn't really have any white on the chin at all. And ours are completely white. His is like smoking dark, with a dark tail and really tawny, dark chest. And mine's like, you're really light in here. No, a white-throated red tail. I go, I'd never heard that before.
Does your friend from Alaska have a lot of like really annoying dogs that bark incessantly?
I will not go there.
And
is he an AI artist?
Is he an AI artist with a beard?
I don't know about the AI artist thing, but yeah, he does have a beard.
He has a beard. Okay. Does he fly aerial aircrafts around?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He was on his way somewhere. He said, hey, mind if I stop there and stuff? It actually was kind of cool though, because I don't hunt with dogs, little dogs for rabbits and stuff.
Yeah.
I've only hunted pointers, and setters over for pheasants. So there's a place my daughter and I went to. I try to not take too many rabbits out of each place. So I think we'd already taken like 3 out of this one railroad track bed. And I like to leave seed rabbits for the next year, but it was the closest place here. And I said, well, we'll go there because I know there's rabbits there. And I wanted his bird to get a flight since he was all the way here. And we get there and he gets out his dogs. And I kid you not, within 45 minutes, we put up over 30 rabbits. It was insane. And I'm thinking there's no rabbits left. It might be, we might have killed most of them. There might just be a few. I had no idea there were that many rabbits still there. Now, we might have flushed a couple the same, but I know they weren't. A lot of them weren't because they were on the railroad tracks and they kept running past us. And I know they weren't circling about to get back in front of us. So, yeah, that was different hunting. And you let the dogs do all the work. I mean, I got cold. I'm like, dude, we got to keep moving. I'm getting cold. He's no, let the dogs do the work. I'm like, I am the dog.
Yeah.
So,
they say that your friend, they say that he has the best dogs in the country. That's what they say.
I don't know who they are, but they did. I mean, they did good putting them up.
No, he has good dogs. He has good dogs. We just like
check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my red tails.
Okay.
It's a captive born dark morph, but there's not there's not a single white feather on it. It's just dark brown with a red tail.
I caught. Oh, I do it. Now that you say that, I did 10 years ago. I did catch a super dark. It looked like a small golden eagle.
Oh, that's cool.
Had really big feet. I was actually trying to catch a snowy owl just for fun because they were invading. Awesome. And I threw a pigeon out in a BC, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching the owl, and all of a sudden I look down, I'm like, what's on the trap? And I drive down there, I'm like, what is that? And at first I thought it was a rough leg because it was so dark, but it was a Harlan's red tail that had somehow gotten blown over here.
Oh, you should have kept it. It had nice feet on it, you said?
nice feed on it, but I caught that. I did keep it and I abandoned it, but then we went to Florida and I got back. I'm like, I don't want to keep this thing all summer just to see if just because that's a cool looking bird to feed it all summer long and get there in the fall. Because I had a good red tail and a good goshawk, and I was keeping out of the novelty of the color. So
yeah,
but
yeah, you did the right thing probably if you're not really in need of it. It was just a novelty thing. A lot of us do things for the novelty of it, and then we find our lives are changed.
You think you would let it go, Casey?
I would not have let it go. No, it's not a chance.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've been down trapping just for fun, and I'm like, I'll catch a bird, and I'm like, oh, you're tempting me.
Oh, yeah.
There's 3 or 4 of them stacked up there, and one of them's got his feet just bit the crap. So it's a good squirrel hawk. And you're like, I really want to. I've actually never had a good squirrel hawk for a red tail. I just haven't ever run into one that's just gang busted. That one picture I sent to you of my friend's bird chasing a squirrel.
Yeah,
that bird is just a machine. I mean, she just sees the squirrel, does the math, and within 5 minutes, she's got it on the ground.
That's awesome.
And she'll do it over and over and over.
Yeah, you got to cut. Maybe it's like, I don't know, all the big females on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
They're all like kind of squirrel machines at a certain point.
Okay.
For whatever reason, they just kind of get it. It may take a little longer for a particular bird or whatever, but eventually it's their thing. But yeah,
I love it. I love it so much.
So fun.
Well, I think I told you, Casey, that when I was an apprentice, I started when I was 10, legally when I was 14.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah. How'd you get started?
I had a kestrel to begin with, and just kind of as a pet, goofing around with it and stuff. And then I found out, actually from a guy from our church, he's like, well, there's this thing called falconer. You can hunt with those things. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, there's this book called My Side of the Mountain. You should read it. So I read the book, My Side of the Mountain. And then I really couldn't wait till I turned 14 to take the test. So I thought I'd be ahead of the game. So I was going to go, I climbed, this is Gen X, man. I remember my dad, hey, Dad, where's your Navy duffel bag? Well, it's in the garage. He goes, what do you want it for? So I'm going to go to the woods and climb a tree and get a hawk. He's like, all right, see you later. So I free climbed this tree at age 13. And I remember I had to stack a big log up against it to get to the first set of limbs. And then every next set of limb was just tall enough I could grab it and climb. So I was probably up 40 feet, and nice. Nobody knew where I was. Yeah. I mean, I could have died and be like, where'd he go? Anyway, I climbed down and come home with this hawk. And my dad's like, oh, you really did that. So he goes, well, I suppose we had to figure stuff out. So we went to the library and got books, and he bought me food and feed it mostly chicken. What kind of food
were you feeding it back then?
Chicken and when it couldn't, I would go to this guy's cattle farm and he hated gophers. So we'd go out there by 22 and we'd wait for the gophers to stick their head up out of the holes and plug them. So 13 Minnesota gophers, we were shooting Minnesota gophers and shoot gophers, and I cut the heads off so they wouldn't get lead poisoning. And so a lot of gophers and a lot of chicken. And then I had a free lofted and we were redoing the mews, and we didn't quite finish the roof that night and figured, it's no big deal. And sure enough, she went up and hit the roof and popped the chicken. We had chicken wire, popped the chicken wire off, and she got loose. And then couldn't find her for a couple of days. And then my sister comes home from school, and this kid said, hey, there's this red tail hanging out of her house. And they had pictures of it. And so it must have been a week later, because I actually had to have film. And my sister's like, I think that's my brother's hawk. So tells my dad. My dad drives over there. He's in his suit, calls the bird down to the glove. Bird lands there right as the DNR shows up. Oh. And they go, is that your hawk? And he goes, nope, it's my son's. He threw me right under the bus.
Oh, no.
Man, thanks, Dad.
So the CO was really cool about it, because he said, basically a few years ago, you could shoot them. They're considered vermin. They only started getting protected, a few years earlier in the early 70s. And so they gave it to somebody else, and I found out you had to have a license. I found out you had to have a sponsor and stuff. I knew you had to take the test. I didn't know about sponsorship. So this guy says, go talk to this guy. And he was my great sponsor, super good sponsor, and took me under his wing. And then, so then when I was 15, I got my first legal bird. And then
nice.
Flew red tail still as 21. Same guy. We went and pulled our first goshawk. I was going to get second choice because, he was the sponsor. And I climbed the tree and I get up there and there's only 2 birds.
Oh, no.
So we can only pick one. We're halfway home, and it was way in northern Minnesota. And he goes, I've already flown a couple. You can have it. So he gave me my, he had the first rights and he gave it to me. So that was my first goshawk.
That was nice of him.
Oh, he was a great guy. So
yeah,
21 years old, I had my first goshawk, and then I had him every year for 37, 38 years until the last one passed away.
Jeez, man, that's awesome. So mostly wild taken, like imprints or any passages?
No, I never flew a passive bird in my life. My friend Dan, he lives about an hour and a half to the east of me. That's all he ever flew was passage birds, and he's done really well with them. But I've only flown imprints, and ones I've imprinted myself are ones I've gotten from other people, and I've taken them and shaped behaviors and jumped the crap out of them and turned them into hunting machines. I did have one foray with a big Finnish goshawk that was basically brain damaged. I think I told you about that she was so aggressive. So I figured I can't really wreck her. So this guy gave her to me, and I did a lot of opera conditioning. And so when she would try to attack my legs from the bow perch, I'd hit her with an air horn and she'd fly back to the perch. And the first time she didn't try to attack my legs, I threw a tibbet and whistled and clicked. And within 3 or 4 days, she wasn't trying to attack my legs anymore and stuff. So, and caught a wild turkey with her.
Nice.
On accident, but she killed a wild turkey. First white-tailed jackrabbit she saw, 300-yard flight. It was dead when they got there. But one time when I was jumping her, she actually got aggressive and grabbed a hold of my arm and brought me to my knees. And I basically said, if this ever happens to one of my kids, because there was that undercurrent of violence underneath there, falconry would be done in my house. So I actually shipped her off to my friend Steve Layman, and he flew her. But mostly North American birds. Only one tiercel. Everything else has been females. I did a lot of pheasants until the bird became blind in one eye from West Nile, and then her depth perception was off, so she wouldn't chase them more than 100 yards, and she'd pull off on them.
Yeah.
So
would a pheasant flight go more than 100 yards typically?
Oh yeah, if they didn't get them on their eyes, probably the first 20 to 40 yards, you're talking quarter to a half mile easy.
Yeah.
So
I actually know somebody who had a passage Harris hawk, and he was after wild pheasants in like Kansas or something, and the flight ended like over a mile. Does that sound right?
Yep, I've had those.
Yeah, that blows my mind. He had GPS on it. He went and picked up his Harris hawk on the pheasant over a mile away from where it started.
It might have been 2 flights, and they might have put the bird in somewhere and then reflushed it and had a second flight. So that's where a dog comes in, man. If
I'm
you don't
sure
have a
it
dog,
was super cropped up at that point.
Oh, really?
I'm sure. After that.
A lot of times before I had dogs, I'd drive to Western Minnesota, and you'd find it, in the evening hour before sundown, you'd find pheasants out picking grit on the road. And you can look around and go, when these guys get flushed, they're going to that farmstead right there. So I would come driving up on them, and I'd stop the car and spook them so they would fly down a fence row away from the cover they wanted to go to. So now they've flown once. They're twice as far away from their cover. And then I get the bird out. A lot of times without a dog, and I'd have to get snowshoes on, snowshoe out there, and then flush. And those flights would be 3/4 of a mile to mile. And you can watch the whole thing because there was nowhere for the pheasant to land between there and the farm.
Wow. That sounds amazing. That sounds beautiful.
Oh, it is cool. Half the time you're watching with binoculars. And then you get the realization like, oh, son of a bitch, now I got to walk that far. So.
Yeah, it sounds like a pain. Yeah, pheasants are tricky that way. I mean, they're a fascinating bird, and then they get like stronger or fly stronger as the winter progresses or something. Like,
well, you get to February.
Don't you think they're invasive, Casey?
Well, they're from China. They're 100% invasive, and so are chuckers. So
it should be able to kill them all.
I don't know why there's any limit on them. Yeah, it's all the fact that you have to pay money to hunt them is all just lobbying and corruption, because you don't have to pay a permit to kill starlings.
You know the moon landing video?
Fake,
you can see a pheasant in that video.
There's pheasants on that one, I heard.
Yeah. And there's no grass.
The one thing I never caught, and that's my goal before I die, is to catch a Hungarian partridge. I had lots of flights. I used to go out the long wingers, and they would, bust a partridge and fly them to a woodlot. And then when they go to look for their next slip a couple miles away, I go in the woodlot and try to fly Huns and stuff. Tons of flights. I just could never put one in the bag. So that's kind of on my to-do list. I have caught 5 rough grouse. I never got to see the catch.
Now, that is cool. Now that is cool.
You get to see the first 20 or 30 yards of the flight, and then it's nothing but trees, so then you got to go out the telemetry, and it's a telemetry chase. And probably had, I'm guessing, maybe 100 flights in a lifetime with over 2 different birds, and caught 5 total.
Yeah, they're hard, right? They're very difficult quarry.
Yeah, and a lot of times you walk around, you can't find them, and I at least 3 times I get the bird down to go look for them, and the freaking grouse is sitting up in a tree, and they change their body shape. They get all tall and skinny, so there's no silhouette of a grouse. And I think they just hold tight, knowing the bird can't see them. And the
That's
second
when
you get a
Casey
bird in
likes
the
to
fist,
shoot 'em.
and then they take off.
Like a screech owl, basically.
Yeah, they do. They make themselves not look like a silhouette of anything. And then, yeah.
On this podcast, we're going to say it now. We're the rough grouse is the cottontail of the upland game.
Yeah.
Because the way they move through the trees, trying to strip the predator by making them smash into stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
You ever gun hunted them? You blow the crap out of a lot of trees. You debark a lot of trees.
Yeah, Casey just drives around and shoots them from the car.
No, there's a beautiful young lady in Canada that does that. She shoots him out of the window of the car and then pulls her free dog that she got for free out and then poses with it, unfortunately.
And if they're stuck in the tree, she whips them out with her dread and
That was actually all the grouse I caught were around here back when we first moved here. There was a pretty good population, but I think that there was such a boom year that year. You run into them sporadically along the river here, but up north they're still pretty thick up there. And we actually have some land up north now. I haven't tried to hunt them up there because I haven't had a goshawk for 3 years, so I might try this winter.
Well, now you have one.
Yep.
Now,
and then the other thing.
Go ahead. No, it's the other thing that I was like hell bent on catching was a snowshoe hare with them, and I got one of those too. So that was kind of cool. Did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I went
over to Duluth, Minnesota, because a bunch of guys are hunting with their red tails. It was a high year, and they're just killing the crap out of them. So there's 6 of us. So I go, you can go first. So I go, well, you guys see many cottontails? They're like, no, it's all snowshoes. It's just it's like 100 to 1. So she misses the first one, pulls up in a tree, and she goes hoofing off 75 yards away, goes down, gets one, and go to her. It's a freaking cottontail.
Really?
So now I'm 6th up on the list. So I wait. So everybody else goes through. They all catch their snowshoes, and I got up again, and I actually caught mine though. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it must have been an incredible spot. Yeah, me and Aaron have been propositioning all of our listeners to lead us to the promised land of snowshoe hare because that's my list. That's on my list. Snowshoe and rough grouse. Yeah. All the invasive species, they don't really do much for me.
Well, the Hungarian partridge is invasive too. I need to get that.
No, I know. Yeah, they're very invasive. It's a big, huge problem. But no, they're cool. They're all cool birds in their own right. It's just, I can't get the obsession and the allure of hunting something that's completely invasive. But I'm sure it's a lot of fun. And I say that because I don't have any in my area. But if I could drive a half an hour away to like hedgerows that had pheasant in it, I would be there every day after work. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny because some people, this is not the lit. A lot of people just hunt in their own backyard and they don't go beyond that, more or less.
Right.
And people, would say, how do you have so much game? And I'm like, well, I would rather drive an hour and a half somewhere where I know I'm going to get 10, 12 flights, in a couple hours versus one flight in a couple hours. So when Layman came here, the first time he came to talk at our meet, I think we put like almost 200 miles on the car that day. And we caught, a couple pheasants, couple ducks, a rabbit. And so I go to they're target rich environments, but you got to travel. I mean, I was putting a crap ton of miles on my car.
Yeah.
To do it. But that was, what I was willing to do for it. So.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. It's that's the name of the game for a lot of falconers nowadays is they got to travel to get slips or they're just chasing squirrels and the occasional cottontail, in woodlots and stuff like that because we're limited on selection, especially for most of us. But some people have it made where they could, like yourself and other people, where they could reasonably get to some good habitat for some quarry. But yeah, were you hunting the rough grouse? Were you hunting them with dogs or were you just hoofing it through the mountains?
No, you could just flush them to every little forestry road that they're always out in the evening picking on the forestry roads.
Okay.
That were around here and stuff. But they did a lot of logging back here back in the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff. And I knew a couple of people that had a fair amount of land and stuff. So you could just walk down the logging roads and flush them from there and stuff. Nice. And I think that's why their population kind of went down too. Because for a while, after things get logged out, there's like this nursery where they can't get killed by the predators.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, as that nursery gets bigger and there's not as much cover to hide in, all the CRP came out. And pretty soon now you've got all the cover for all the critters is gone. So they're all going to condensing them there. And all of a sudden the fox population exploded. The coyote population exploded. It's not too hard to go hunting as a fox. All you got to do is run down every fence row looking for the stuff because it's not going to be out in the fields anymore.
Right.
That's why I did so good early on with the pheasants back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I had a flushing dog, a lab, but there was 400 acres of CRP just 3 miles from here. I could just go walking through there with my flushing dog and get pheasant after pheasant after pheasant. And then when all that went back into beans and corn for a couple of years, it was good. But then all of a sudden it just, got decimated because all the predators that came back.
Yeah. Now, are they doing like restocking efforts and stuff like that in your area to supplement the population? So it's just like 100% wild population that ebbs and flows like any other prey base.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know some states, right, Aaron? Some states will do that out west. They'll like, when the numbers are kind of low, they'll restock and do stuff. And
pheasants and chucker?
Not like, I hate to say restock, but like basically like breed and release,
Definitely pheasants. I don't know about chucker.
Yeah, actually, I should say that Wisconsin does have some state wildlife areas where you can, pay to hunt. Basically, you go and they give you tags, basically, and they release the birds that like the day before.
Yeah.
So there's a big place down by Milwaukee called Bong area, and a couple of falconers actually went there and said, "Hey, we can't. It's a public hunting ground, so we can't hunt here because it shuts down at 2:00 every day, and we're not going to hunt out here with our birds." So they actually got permission to hunt from like 2 till sundown every day, and I think they got to hunt an extra month too after the gun season closed. So that's a great situation there where the bird doesn't know their bags. That's a great place to go and catch birds. My friend Ed, Ed looks like trying to think of the name of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the miner guy with the beard. That's kind of Ed. He's this big chunky. He's got sausage fingers and all that. And he's got a beautiful goshawk right now, and she does amazing stuff. But he always qualified. Yeah, I got 20 pheasants, but they're all bong pheasants. I'm like, Ed, he's like 65 years old. You're out there doing it. She doesn't know the difference, and he's got plenty of other wild stuff too. I said, don't degrade it. You're out there, you're pounding the pavement and doing it. It's not like you're taking the bird and putting it in a fence line and kicking it up,
Yeah, yeah.
So, but there are, back to your question, there are areas where they actually do release them. Our local rod and gun club, they go around to local owners here and say, would you like to kick in X amount of dollars and we'll release, 50 birds on your land or whatever. And then all that means is if they release the birds on your land, you have to leave it open for public hunting. And 99% of the people never go and hunt on it. So they kind of have their own little hunting preserves around and stuff. I have caught a couple of birds that you could see through the mirrors. They had a blinder in at one time.
Right.
But most of them are wild around here.
Got it. Yeah. We have, in Jersey, believe it or not, we do have quite a few places like that where it's, just like you said, it like shuts down at 2 and they stock and there's like lanes cut and you can, walk through. I don't think we have to buy well, you have to get a tag to hunt them, obviously, but I don't think it's like, where that particular area you have to purchase to go there. It's just, you have to get like your pheasant tag and then you can go there. And we've hunted those with the birds. I think we went on off days. Now, question for you. Getting the permission to hunt at 2 until sundown, was that an individual that set that all up, or was that through the club in the state that helped facilitate the rule change?
That was an individual that went and talked to them, and then with our president of our club, they talked to him, kind of explained the whole situation, and had a good person at that place that said, "Well, yeah, that makes sense." Yeah. Getting back to your thing about whether the club gets involved in things. When you talked about having X amount of game in your freezer.
Yeah.
There was a group of 3 or 4 guys that hunted later in the season stuff. And it was ridiculous that we could only have, I think it was like 9 or 10 rabbits in our freezer at a time. So they went to the state and lobbied and actually got the law changed. And I know it's over 50. I think you can have 50 rabbits in your freezer now, as long as you leave the fur on them. You can gut them and all that. So that way they know it's for animal consumption with the fur, and, you can leave it on them. And I said, why don't we do the same thing for ducks and pheasants? Just leave all the, gut them and leave them like that. Who's going to eat them anyway? So
what if you like a little fur in your own personal rabbit?
Well, in North Carolina, they like that. They put it in the stew. They put a little.
We add a little fur to the stew, to the Brunswick stew.
I'd say try Metamucil and take the feathers off and try Metamucil if you want fiber.
It thickens the stew. A little fur does. That's what I hear.
Do you guys have now Minnesota? I still go over there. A lot of my falconer friends are over there. They have a game dinner every year. Kind of their big. Everybody gets together in the spring, and they have a guest speaker that comes in. And they have a big raffle to raise money for the club and all that. And they have this game dinner where everybody makes something out of something they caught that year.
Oh, that's nice.
And being that I'm from Wisconsin, I go over there. I usually get to be a judge, so I get to taste a little bit of everything and stuff. And you some great recipes. I mean, I've never been great at cooking wild game. I feed most of the birds, but at one time, a guy made little deviled eggs out of quail eggs.
Oh, that's cool.
Could turn to quail eggs. He made these teeny little deviled eggs and stuff. But
I hope he made 1,000 of them because I could go through a whole tray of deviled eggs.
Oh yeah, they don't last too long. But but lots of pheasant, sage grouse, and stuff, prairie chickens, things they've gone out west and got them, brought them back and stuff.
Oh,
stuff
neat.
I would never taste unless I got to go to their game dinner.
Oh, you see, I think more clubs need to do stuff like that. And Aaron he's really itching to say something. Go ahead, Aaron.
The North Carolina meet that Casey came to, we had a bear that me and Casey shot on
we pulled the trigger
Friday night.
We looked through the scope with the same eye and we pulled the trigger together.
I held Casey from behind.
Yeah, like we're taking a prom photo. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had bear on Friday night that we shot in West Virginia. And then Saturday we had Brunswick stew, which is a southern stew of like barbecue flavor with squirrel and rabbit.
Okay.
Or whatever else. You never know. It's like a
little possum we were a little short, so we had some possum.
There's a little roadkill special.
Little rat carcass floating in there. You never know. It's exciting.
But most people don't catch enough game to do a game dinner. So
yeah, Aaron loves to. He's not going to say this because he's a humble guy, but I'm going to point this out that the whole club that were there for the night before the meet started, they ate the Brunswick stew, and he made a point to mention more than one time that all of the rabbits and squirrels that were in that stew were supplied by him through his birds.
Not entirely. No, it was my apprentice. My apprentice Jen and Ben.
Oh yes, that's right. Jen and Ben, and then you did too, didn't you say?
Well, I did most of them.
Yeah. So he made a point to mention that.
Like 75% of them were from me.
And he liked to point out that some of the people that are, not fans of him or vice versa.
Yeah, they were over there.
They were loving it. They were he said they were slurping it down their gullets. They were loving it.
I usually just go there and eat because I get to be a judge, eat the stuff, and I don't bring stuff. But one year, my wife makes these great things called chicken roll-ups, where it's basically a tortilla, and she sautés chicken chunks and then puts in like little green chilies and some cream of mushroom soup maybe and black olives.
Ooh,
and then cream cheese, and rolls it all up and puts cheese on top of it and then bakes it in the oven. So it kind of comes out. Yeah, it kind of comes out like an enchilada and stuff. So I just use pheasant one year instead of chicken. And it is phenomenal.
That sounds amazing. That sounds so good. Aaron, we got to go on the website. We got to start putting like recipes.
There you go.
Stuff like that. That's cool. Or we'll come up with like a cookbook like every other outdoor.
We're going to do the Sporting Chance Invitational meet.
Yeah.
And we'll do like some crazy game dinners.
Well, we already have the location picked out and permission from the state host to do it there. So we may do that.
Yeah, we may do that.
You have to pay to play though. Try and make some money off this gig.
I mean, that's what it's all about.
I got to show you something. My one daughter who's
Steve's going to grab something to show us.
She was my first. She's my first falconer, to do stuff with her dad and stuff. And so I was like, honey, are you? She was going to be drawing some birds of prey for the 4-H for the county fair. And I said, if you're doing something for the 4-H thing, I said, would you mind doing something that I can use for a T-shirt then for our meet? We always have a meet T-shirt. And she's like, sure. And I remember coming in. It was like noon on a Friday, and she had to submit it by like 3:00 in the afternoon. And she's still working as like just a drawing. She started that morning, pencil and paper. And like saw her working. I'm like, I'm probably going to wind up being some stick figures, so I'll have to do something else later and stuff. And she turned this out. I don't know if you can see this. She turned this out in like 4 hours.
Man.
Just pencil and paper. Isn't that cool?
That's
incredible.
What
are the birds we have there? We got a red tail.
Come on, man! It's a peregrine,
goshawk, and a
red tail. Aaron,
there's the red tail.
Won't insult his dog.
Goss, and there's the grin.
That's awesome.
The goshawk particularly stands out to me as very, very accurate.
Well, it's cool too if you look. I mean, she even has the composition. He has 2 profiles looking opposite directions and a 3/4 view with the goshawk. And it wasn't just like drawing. So she's
just in an afternoon. She did that.
Like in 3 hours.
Imagine she sat and like really put her head down and did it. It would be amazing. The only other person that I saw that I saw somebody draw pencil of birds of prey to the same level as that, but this is somebody that you have to pay money to, is Aaron, what's his name? Bradley is his Bradley. not Bradley Martin. That's the
That's the
Martin. It's Martin Bradley from Europe. And look at this.
Yeah.
I was going to go get something too. Now we're doing a show and tell.
This is just a pencil and paper. Just a pencil and paper.
Oh, wow. Is that cool?
This is great content for the listeners.
Well, maybe like it's just a pencil and paper.
That's awesome.
I like it's like mind blowing. Like that your daughter and this guy, like it's mind blowing that somebody could do that with a piece of paper and a pencil.
This is our logo here. This is we had a Russian falconer in like the early 90s visit a friend from Wisconsin. He did this on the freaking a placemat at a restaurant.
What?
And turned that. So then it was our meat coordinator for 17 years. I went out and colorized it and digitized it and stuff. So this is our embroidered one.
Wow, that's sweet.
Like 100,000 stitches.
100,000 stitches.
Yeah. This one's all over the world. You guys know Lauren McGow,
we've heard of her. Yes. Yeah, we've heard of her.
We've heard of her.
Yeah, she came and talked at ours a couple times, and she's like, I really like that and stuff. So she was going Africa and Japan or something. So I sent her a whole bunch of stuff. So our logo is like all over the world.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, I can do like hangman figures. That's about it.
Yeah, me too. I could draw. The only thing I can draw well is I can draw like mountains with pine trees on it.
Casey he draws a stick figure of Jesus on the cross. He like can't help himself. He just does it all the time.
I do that first, and then I can draw other stuff.
Like right here somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
I see it back there. Yeah.
Aaron keeps trying to. He thinks he's gonna blaspheme me, and it always backfires on him. He tried that on another episode. We had two wonderful, strong brothers in the group, and they shut him down quick, and he was ostracized. How you like that, Aaron? Steve's not gonna let that fly.
I saw the cross in the background. I knew Steve was. I knew that was his thing.
My wife and I actually own a Christian youth summer camp.
That's awesome.
We bought it in 2019 to save it from going under because our kids had such a good experience there. And my wife had taken kids there for 12 years as a chaperone and stuff. And when we heard it was going out of, I was not in. They were all in. I'm like, dude, I think at the time it should be 6 years. I was 54 years old. And I said, I'm not going into debt at this point in my life, you guys. It's not on my bucket list to go into debt. And I kind of toot my own horn. One of the reasons I was able to stay at home with my kids and my wife, worked part-time, although she's a nurse practitioner, so she didn't have to work 5 days a week, was because our goal when we got married at 25 was to have our mortgage paid off by the time we were 30. We did. So I've had no debt forever. So then when we bought this camp, everything was great in 2019. Well, then 2020 hits and the freaking world shuts down from the freaking, pandemic. And
right.
I got a camp with no campers. I got no way to, I got a car with no engine.
Yeah.
So 2020 and 2021 really sucked. And we had to tap into our savings to keep it alive. And
that's right.
I did some fun and it's going great now. It's going super good now, but it was a couple of years of, why did we do this? And we actually got offered a fair amount of money by somebody. It's 220 acres.
Well, yeah,
it's a good place for a field meet.
It's wrapped by 50,000 acres of national forest. It's way in northern Minnesota
or
Wisconsin. I'm sorry. And so we had this hunting outfit, and it had never been hunted. So the first time I deer hunted there, the deer were like, when I shot one, they're kind of like, "Oh, what was that noise?" Because they never heard a gun go off before. Anyway, we had this outfit offer us almost $250,000 more than we paid for it. And I'm like, "We're out." I said, "Honey, we're out. I don't want to do this anymore." And she's like, "That's not why we bought it, Steve." I'm like, "I know, honey, but this has been an albatross and that's killing us." And she's like, "You know what? If we hang in there, we'll find a way. It'll work out and stuff." And it is. It's going really, really well now. And all of my one daughter lives up there. She's a registered nurse, and her husband's a musician, so they do all our music stuff and all that. And she works 1 day a week up on Lake Superior in Ashland. And so they kind of our caretakers there. And my other daughter, she teaches anatomy and physiology. She's the one that did the artwork there. She teaches anatomy and physiology at the college she went to. So she's off during the summers. Our third daughter is also a registered nurse, and she helps them about 3 or 4 weeks of the year. And then my last daughter said, "Dad, I don't want to have anything to do with the healthcare field." So that's my last one who's flying this red tail right now. And she's
a camper, and the rest are all counselors.
She's super good. She thinks she wants to be a welder. She's got 1 more year of high school. She thinks she wants to go in the trades.
Welding, she's going to make bank.
And she's so good at rock climbing and rappelling and high ropes and all that. So she's looking at, maybe doing some sort of welding where you have to do high work or whatever. So being a woman and being able to do all the high work already and stuff, she thinks she's kind of got it. We'll see if she wants to do it.
She should go. She should go the other direction, and she should go under the water because that's where the money's at.
She's thought about that too. Yeah, go do the oil rigs.
They make literally those underwater welders at those rigs. They literally make like $380 an hour.
That's like a plumber in New Jersey ripping an old lady off.
$450 an hour in New Jersey, my friend. Well, because where we live, man, the cost of living is through the roof.
You know, I think in New Jersey, and I just can't get out of my head of like Cake Boss. Where do you hunt?
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I've been asking.
Casey hunts behind Cake Boss.
Oh, that's just
exactly. My sponsors, I think my sponsors, no, they are. My sponsors are friends with that guy, and they Phil. My sponsor Phil, to make extra money when he's not teaching, he bartends at his. He has like a big, he has big venues that he has, the Cake Boss.
Yeah.
And Phil does the bartending at night to make like an extra, $500 on a Friday and a Saturday night. He'll make like $1,000 bartending for Cake Boss.
You're like the second person. The first person I know.
Yeah.
First person I know from New Jersey is actually she works at CBS television out there, or whatever and stuff. And she always sends me pictures of from her apartment of New York City, and I'm like, oh, where do you hunt around there? So.
Oh, there's another falconer that works for CBS?
No. She works for CBS Sunday Morning News.
Okay.
She, long sordid story, but I grow flowers for a living, and I started breeding this one special sunflower back in 2008. And then when the shit hit the fan in 2020, I was looking for an extra way to make money because I was selling cut flowers at the time to the Twin Cities. I was a huge cut flower supplier, mostly sunflowers. Okay. But I was working on this brand new sunflower that nobody had ever seen before. And she saw some of my stuff on Instagram, and she sends me a message and says, hey, we're doing a story on sunflowers for CBS Sunday Morning News. Would you be interested? And I thought it was somebody just like fishing to get free seeds, Mm-hmm. So I blew it off. And like 2 weeks later, I got another one saying, that was her assistant. Well, the executive producer actually sends me an email and says, hey, we're doing a story on Mo Rocca with Jane Pauley on sunflowers. I want to know if you want to do a story featuring your sunflowers. And I looked at my wife. I'm like, I think this is legit. So I called her up, talked to her on the phone, and sure enough, they flew a crew out here for 3 days and shot video and did an interview. And then I got 2.5 minutes of, well, there was a 5-minute story, and I got almost half of it was mine. Wow. That was pretty cool.
Did you see a bump in sales from that?
I did see some, from there. The biggest one I saw was when I did that Discovery Channel thing with that gal out on the West Coast. She's kind of like the Martha Stewart of flowers now.
Okay.
She's got like 1.6 million followers, and she's written three New York Times best-selling books, and she just did a award-winning thing on the Magnolia Channel. So when the falconry part actually never made the video because Discovery Channel thought it'd be a little too, like, what do you want to call it? Too rough or too violent.
Realistic. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking, you guys do Shark Week. I mean, how can you? Anyway, they didn't have enough time that they said, well, here's 2 minutes out of like a 36-minute episode. Here's 2 minutes to do falconry. And my friend said, that's not enough time to give the background and all the thing about it. So they shit canned it. So she felt bad about that. And she goes, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put a blog like 2 weeks before your seed sale. And I'd never sold online before. All my stuff was live stuff. I'd traveled to Twin Cities. So 2 weeks before that, she puts this thing in her blog. And I went from like 16,000 followers to like 40,000 in 2 days.
Oh, good for you.
So
that's
awesome.
Then
I just broke 100,000 like about a month ago.
On IG, what's your handle for the people to go check you out?
It's sun with an _ flower _ Steve. I know it sounds hokey, but
Sunflower Steve.
Sunflower Steve, but there's an underscore between the sun and the flower and the Steve. Sunflower Steve.
Oh, you're verified?
So sun _ flower _ Steve.
Yeah.
There you are. I gave you a follow.
Okay. Thank you. 105,001.
105. There you go.
You're about to have 105 too.
Yeah, I put falconry stuff. You know what's so funny? I first put some falconry stuff up there, and I got a lot of hate, so I took it down. I stuck to just the flowers.
Don't worry about that.
Well, I stuck to just the flowers for a while because I didn't want to alienate people. But then I thought, that's part of who I am. So I think most of the people around my daughter got her first bird with me. And so they've been following Bethany and Merida. They all know Merida and Bethany together. And Merida is actually the one that was shot for the Discovery Channel. Anyway, so there was a time like last year or the year before where she was so busy with something at school. I was just taking her bird out and hunting it and posting stuff and all that. And people are literally DMing me like, is Bethany okay? Is something wrong with her? Why isn't she hunting with you? So she has a bunch of followers through me because they follow that thing. And I've gotten so many things from women. 92% of my followers are women.
That's
that
awesome.
say they really wish that their father would have done stuff like that with them. And for me, not an option. Whatever my kids were, they're going to be involved in. I just happen to have 4 girls, and they've all been involved in it. But a lot of people are just so impressed that my daughter's doing it. They think it's really cool, and she does it with her dad and making those memories. And so when I first got a couple of those DMs, I thought, screw it, I'm just putting stuff up. I won't show, I don't usually show, like if she's standing there holding the bunnies, I'll usually put the text over the bunny so that you can see the feet and you can see the ears, but you can't see the bunny in between.
You got a little falconer stuff on here. I see it.
Yeah. You got to go back to the winter when there's no flowers growing. I got to fill the content with something.
Almost spit out my soup. No, there's not that much hate. There's hate on all of them. Until you have an open investigation on people threatening your life and track you down, then that's not hate. You don't have any hate. You're good.
So
it makes the page more interesting.
Do you get a bunch of those?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Casey gets a ton. Even I've started getting them, and I'm just the nicest guy ever. So I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, and I try to be tasteful. I don't show too much crazy stuff, but it's.
Hey, let me. Do you guys do much, like physical conditioning when you're not hunting, like jumping or restrained pursuits at all?
You're saying physical conditioning when we're not hunting, like outside of the season?
No, just during the hunting season. I mean, even if I go out and I'll catch, like, it's crappy weather, I catch one duck and it's crappy, I'll bring her back and I'll exercise her for an hour in the bathroom. So.
Oh, I thought you were talking about us. I was like, I hit the Stairmaster.
No, not you guys.
Obviously, we don't. But our birds, I know I should, but I don't.
Yeah,
I do. I do. It depends. Yeah, it depends on my mood. If especially with a new bird, because I'm like probably like yourself, Steve. Like you get like obsessively in tune with like their development.
Mm-hmm.
So that if like she misses or something like that, and I don't want to end with a baggie or a carcass drag or a lure machine, I'll just do I'll have a long, not a creance necessarily, but like a long leash that's like maybe 20 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole walk back to the truck, I'll wait for her posture and head positioning and feathers. And as soon as it's right, I'll just flick a tidbit all the way out in front of me and then just release it through my fingers as she works all the way back to the truck.
Yeah.
And I'll just do that all the way back to the truck. But it's only like when I think about doing it. Usually my wife is texting me and threatening me and screaming at me. So then I have to just speed walk back to the truck while I'm screaming for all the dogs to kennel up. But yeah.
Yeah. So, back to the thing of it can be tough on the bears or whatever. My first job, my real job when I wore a suit and all that, I was in advertising. So, and we had no kids. So I was in sales. So by 2:00, I could be done every day. See all my clients have the bird and the dog in the car or whatever and stuff. And I'd stop at this gas station, change into my hunt and stuff, get out my hawking done, get home before my wife even got home from work. So I would hawk 5 days a week during the week. And then on the weekends, it never interfered. And so then once we started having kids, it'd be like, I look at the weather and say, well, God, it's going to be crappy on Thursday and Friday, but Saturday is going to be good. So I would say, well, you want to do that home improvement thing. So let's go to Home Depot tonight, get some stuff and we'll work on that and stuff. And then when Saturday rolled around, I knew it was going to be nice weather and I actually could hunt. Yes. I'd say, Shelby wants to go hunt with their bird. So I'd throw the kid in there. Because I couldn't hunt on Thursday anyway. And that's when I quit my job in 2000. Well, 95, I quit my job. My equipment's job second time in 2000, just do full-time farming because then I had all my winters off. And like I say, I didn't have a mortgage. I had all my winters off. I got to see everything my kids ever did. Really quick caveat back. My oldest daughter, when she was born at 10 days of age, we found out she had a fatal heart defect and was going to die if she didn't have a heart transplant or this reconstructive surgery, which only had like a 2-year lifespan. Oh. So we were fortunate, and at 49 days on the list, she actually got a heart transplant, and that's 30 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
So,
thank God.
So when that happened, I decided I didn't really like my job. I liked it for the money and I liked it for the hunting ability, but my wife loved her job. She got benefits. So I wound up staying home being Mr. Mom. And so that allowed me to I did a few odd jobs for about 5 years until I started doing the farming full time. But
that's awesome.
That was a way I could always not interfere with my marriage. And so I know far too many guys have gotten divorced because their priorities, the bird was more important than my wife. And I know there have been times I've been this close and my wife has flat out told me,
how many times?
Well, probably it was when the kids were little more. When we didn't have kids, there's no big deal. But by about the second kid, probably heard it, 10 or 12 times, and I'd be like, "Yeah, she's right." So I got to figure out a different way around this. you know, and I did. And I always weighed that balance. That balance is hard to weigh too. You got 2 good days to hunt and 5 crappy ones. You're like, I know we got this thing we have to go to, but it's going to be a nice day that day.
Yeah.
You're a good husband.
It's a hard balance.
You're a good, like Aaron said, he hit the nail on the head. You're a good husband.
Yeah.
I think we could all be a little bit better. I'm self-employed, so I find myself just...
You're self-unemployed like me.
Well, yeah, I could. Yeah, I'm close to it if I...
if that spoiler doesn't come through.
Yeah, I just tell the customers that I'm going to be a little bit late. I got an emergency. Meanwhile, I'm like mucking through a swamp to get my bird back.
You got blood on you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think a lot of people that get into falconry, especially like younger people, like you got to think about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard because like if you're going to like, if most falconers that I know, and I'm not just speaking about myself or Aaron or yourself, Steve, like we want to fly as often as we can. And most falconers do. So like if you're in a position to pick a career field,
mm-hmm.
you know, pick something that could like lend itself so that you can enjoy your life at the same time rather than just 5 full days a week, leaving in the dark, getting home in the dark, and then flying, you know, on a Saturday and Sunday if the weather's works out.
Right.
You know, be a cop, be a firefighter or something. These firefighter people, they're like cleaning up right now.
Yeah.
Dude, they make like $100,000 a year. They work like 24 hours on and like 48 hours off. It's insane.
Yeah. And when you get kids too, don't like, I never pushed them hard. They always had we did a lot of rehabbing for the raptors. So they always had babies, birds here and there doing stuff and all that. I never pushed them. Like, you're going to come out with me. We're going to go all day long, stuff like that. I always made it fun. Like we're going to go hawking for a couple hours. We're going to stop at the convenience store. You can pick up anything you want. And when we're done, we're going to have some wood in the back of the truck. We'll make a little bonfire. We'll roast some hot dogs and always make it kind of an experience. And never just like, you know, I really don't like fishing a lot. I don't mind it, but it's because I was stuck in a boat for 4 or 5 hours and you have nowhere to go. You're stuck there. You know, it wasn't like, you know, it was mostly with my grandpa. He wanted to show it to me, but he didn't want to really, you know, show it to me for a little bit. We had to do it the diehard way. And so it kind of ruined me on fishing. So I'm never going to do that to my kids. Yeah. Great man. He taught me so much about the outdoors, but so the whole reason I really don't thrive to go fishing. I'm like, you want to take me in your boat and give me your rod and I'll buy a license and I'll bring some food. Yeah, we'll do that. But yeah, getting the kids involved in each thing, you know, how old are your kids, Aaron?
I just have one kid, 6.
Okay. Yeah. That's a, you know, seeing it through their eyes, hopefully, you know, for me was a whole, like I said before, I was so obsessed with it. I mean, I was 7 days a week and jumping the shit out of them and flying stuff, you know, going out and catching 5, 6 head and coming home and jumping them again and all that. And then when I got my daughter's first red tail, I was like, wow, she was just happy we came home with the bird. Maybe I need to step back a little bit and start doing falconry a little more differently and just get a kick out of going trapping birds for a day. So
that's true. Yeah, sure.
I noticed that I have one kid at home now and she has a red tail. I think I might be a little obsessed with this bird this year. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it can come back. You just got to put in your time and be a good husband and do the right thing. Balance your life out. I've been getting better. I used to be really, really, really bad. Like really bad. Like I remember like I had to fly the bird and I had a discussion with my wife when I got home from work that I have to fly the bird. And she's like, I need help. I need help with this baby. Like we just had a baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And then I literally like I did this multiple times where I was like, I'm gonna go clean up outside, take the trash out. And I would literally just like run around like full speed, grab the bird and run to my truck and try to go to like a woodlot, like right down the street and just catch a squirrel and then come back. like an addict, like a drug addict.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's not right. But I definitely have that personality. It's in my family, I guess, like that like addictive, like, you know what I mean? So it's like
an obsessive compulsive.
You have to like, and I'm self-employed. So it's like, I have nobody looking over my shoulder. So it's like, it's a bad combination, but it's better than like heroin. You know what I mean? Or like fentanyl. Or maybe, you know, I've never tried either. So maybe it's not, but
well, you know, it's funny. Actually, the first winter my wife and I dated, she was, you know, trying to get on my good side. And I actually went and trapped her a bird and she flew a bird with me in her first year. So she and I went on hawking together. And at the end of that year, she's like, you know, it's not my thing. It was fun. It's your thing and you can do it. But I just kind of want to see what it was like. So she was out there. She understood what it took.
Yeah.
So, and I still remember one time being at her house. I'm like, I'm going to go hawking. I'll be back. I told her a time. Well, I told her I'll be back at like 3. She's like, she goes, just come back when it's dark. She goes, I know you're not flying owl, so I know after dark you have to be back here, because it was for a party or something. And so I was going to try to make it back there before sundown. She's like, just come back after it's dark, because then I know you won't be flying your bird. So I think her going out and seeing it, she understood a little more.
Yeah.
Not to say it hasn't been, every year from January till February 17th or 20th, somewhere when we go to Florida, she'll all of a sudden say, you're getting kind of crabby. I'm like, yeah, because I know I only got 4 weeks left. I only got 3 weeks left. Those days get shorter and shorter. At age 60, I'm thinking I only got, on a good day, 20 seasons left in me, probably 15 if I could still hobble around. Yeah, so every year it gets tighter and tighter. We're like, that's coming up to the last time. And I hate to be fatalistic and think about that, but it's the truth.
It is true. Yeah. And you see your, guys that when you get into the sport when you're young, like you were when you were young, and you see guys and they get old and they can't do anything anymore. And you're like, it's like your selfish part of you uses that as like an excuse to like go hard and like sacrifice.
Like when we see Phil and Paul, and it reminds us of our mortality.
Yeah. 9 kids between the two of them.
Tender age of 47 and 49 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
I tell you what, this kind of pulled at my heartstrings last year. This guy pulls in my driveway and he's driving a Harley. I'm like, I don't know anybody with a Harley. He pulls up and I'm like, can I help you? And he takes off his helmet, and it's my sponsor. And I hadn't seen him for like 3 years. I do Christmas cards every year and stuff. And he pulls off his helmet and he's like, hey, Paul, how you doing? He comes over and he goes, well, I really want to come out here and see you and talk to you a little bit. I'm like, well, what's going on? He goes, well, I wanted to tell you that, I'm getting Alzheimer's and I'm forgetting a lot of things and all that. And I said that. He goes, before I forget, I just want to tell you that you've been my best kid I've ever sponsored in falconry, that little kid that came to my house that time. And you've done me really proud by how well you've done. And I appreciate the fact that you chose me as a sponsor. And I was like, holy shit. One, thanks for the compliment. 2, that sucks. And now I talked to his wife 3-4 months ago and stuff. And he's only 67, and he's not there anymore. It just sucks.
That's sad. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But for him to tell me that, for him to have the cognizance to know that he won't know to tell me this in the future, he's going to come and tell me that now. That was so awesome. That's freaking awesome.
Casey's dream come true for Phil and Paul to come tell him that.
It is true. They've barely ever told me that they were proud of me ever.
Because they're not.
I know, but what else do I have to do?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
That was really nice of your sponsor to do that. Yeah, the relationship between, that's another thing that we could discuss, man. It's like there's people just like paper sponsoring people, signing off, people running around with birds. And it's like, man, I lived in my sponsor's house when my parents got divorced when I was like 20. I lived in his house for like 4 years.
Oh, really?
In his basement. You know what I mean? I moved my Muse with a flatbed trailer to his house. It's still there to this day. Aaron saw it. And it's like
beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful
he drove
Muse.
up to go up to Maine. We stopped it. And it's like, and it's like the relationship is there, for the rest of your life. But some people, it's just like this like transactional thing where it's just.
Right. Give me my 2 years in and I'm gone when I'm a general.
Yeah. Or you have one disagreement and like you start cutting ties with the person. Like me and Phil fought, like, you know what I mean? Like we fought. I had a falling out with his cousin and we're, best of buddies now. Like, and then it's like we're all mad at each other, but like we still hawk and, and you just get over it. Like kind of like becomes like
you
almost.
And Phil
like,
had a falling out?
Not really. Me and Matt were fighting about something. And
about a girl?
It had to do with a girl, but it wasn't like that. I thought he was setting my ex up with his friend because I caught him at Dunkin' Donuts. But she was all sad because she broke up with me. Only girl that ever broke up with me, by the way. And
one out of one, huh?
One out of like a bun, allegedly. And he felt bad for her because he was dating her twin sister. Well, they were triplets, and he was dating the sister. And she was crying and all sad. So they said, just come with us. And then his friend happened to be with them. I mean, it's still suspicious to this day. And I stopped at Dunkin' Donuts to get a coffee. And I saw them standing on line. And I see my friend, my good friend, with my ex-girlfriend, his current girlfriend, and his friend from Jordan, his Jordanian friend. And I see him standing there. I said, what's going on here? What are we doing here? And I was jacked. I was shredded, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
A crime of passion coming here.
Yeah, it could have been. Definitely could have been. and it was a big falling out. But it turns out that he was like literally just like his friend happened to be with him, and it was a spur of the moment thing, and whatever. And I let that carry into my relationship. Anyway, it's just not even worth talking about. But my point is that like they're like my family. Like they're like family to me. You know what I mean? And it's like not because we choose to. It's just because of the way the whole relationship was structured from the beginning. And and also part of it is that they've always been better at falconry than I am. So it's like you got sponsors that are sponsoring people that need. I've seen this with my own two eyes, and no disrespect to whoever it is if they know who I'm talking about and they're listening right now. No disrespect. The sponsor's apprentice's dad is like helping him turn the GPS on and like putting it on his bird because he can't do it with one hand. And I'm like, bro, like, what are we doing here? Like, you're supposed to be sponsoring this family, and you can't. Like, you need their help to like help you do your falconry. Like, this is weird. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's more than just. Some people, they like to just jump and sponsor people whenever they show up at the doorstep. And it just.
You should be like me. Like me. I took too many apprentices. Really? My apprentices are disappointments to me.
Not all of them.
Half of them. No, I'm joking. They're all doing great. But to your point, like I revere my sponsor.
Exactly. Yeah. You have the same relationship with Bob that I have with Phil and Paul. Like where you look up to them, you call them for advice. Like, that they know more than you.
Right.
So their opinion carries so much weight.
I'll never be above asking Bob for advice ever.
Exactly. And same for me with Paul and Phil. Like it's just, and I just think like a sponsor should like, you should be able to help your apprentice in like whatever area it is. Like you should be so far ahead of them in terms of your skill level and experience that it's not even a question to help them with a basic issue rather than like you're both learning together.
So when are you going to take an apprentice?
When I find somebody worthy, bro. They ain't worthy. No, I'm just kidding. I've had a couple. I had one guy, what's his name? Buckhorn's apprentice with the cowboy boots.
Brooks and Dunn,
Mr. Handsome Devil himself. That guy, I was going to sponsor him. He just didn't. He lived like literally right by Buckhorn, but I was going to sponsor him.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, you gotta. PAX got to sponsor you because you live close. But I was literally going to pull the trigger and like take him under my wing, but he lived too far away.
Steve, is your dog okay?
Yeah, there's a farm about 5 miles from where they have one of those Great Pyrenees, and those things just roam everywhere. And that's what they're built. That's what they're built for. And my dog just hates that thing. And all of a sudden I saw her ripping off, and she just was going after to tell that dog to get the hell off our land and stuff. So
get off my land.
Yeah. Pissed me off last year too. Last year, my daughter and I were deer hunting. And right at sundown, we had 2 does and a buck coming. It's just getting to be too dark. They bed down about 100 yards from us in this grass on this cornfield right up to the grass. And so I said, okay, once it's dark, we'll get out of the back of the blind. We'll do a big end around to get back to the farm. And then in the morning, we'll come back in the same way, and we'll get them when they wake up in the morning. And sure enough, we get out there and the sun's just coming up, and all of a sudden we see them stand up and they shake the frost off their backs, and they're walking on a line right towards us. Literally, that's where we sighted her gun in at 70 yards. They get right to the grass to step out in the field, and they all look to the east, and I'm like, what are they here? Sure enough, that freaking Great Pyrenees comes running in there, scares them out. It was my daughter's best chance ever to get a deer. And I almost shot that dog. I was so
shoot the dog.
I was actually I don't know that guy, but I called the guy that does it. I said, can you tell him at least, I know his dog roams and everybody has roaming dogs around here and all that, but just, I'm a nice guy and somebody's going to shoot his dog. If he lets it for the next 2 weeks, he needs to keep that thing tied up or somebody's going to shoot his dog. Maybe that's what he wanted. I don't know, but
maybe.
Anyway, yes, my dog is okay.
We're constantly hearing about Great Pyrenees, roaming, people finding them, the Humane Society or Pound having them because, they're standing in the middle of the road somewhere.
Yeah, they do. They just run that Silveritas.
My neighbor has one. My neighbor, somebody just bought my neighbor's house and they moved in and they're a nice family. And it's really nice because the kids are the exact same age as my oldest. Mm-hmm. So they play all the time. But their mom, who watches the kids like 5 days a week, has one of those dogs.
Does she have a fence?
Well, I saw it on the security cameras just trotting and peeing on my fence, like by my muse.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, what the heck is this? So like, it turned out my buddy from church is like best friends with the guy who bought the house. And so I texted him and I said, I'm not gonna, I got to go to work. I can't go up there right now, but like, dude, I can't have this dog like attacking my dogs. I got dachshunds and a spaniel. I got kids, like I can't have this monstrous dog just like run around my yard. I got birds here and stuff like that. So now it stays up there, but it barks all day long. It just barks nonstop because it's like a livestock. It's like a livestock, like guardian dog, right? Those Pyrenees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take some pressure off your dachshunds.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice, Aaron, because my neighbors, I told the story on the podcast. So the neighbors screaming at me out the window at like 12 o'clock at night. Shut those dogs up. Yeah, because I got one particular dog. She's a real gem, this dog. And
gamekeepers, Maggie.
I sense sarcasm.
No, Aaron bred her. She's a very good. She's a very good dog, like very good hunting dog, but she barks like incessantly. And the neighbor, who's just like he lives in like a giant house across the street, and he just lives there by himself. Just gets mad at everything, complains about everybody, and he just couldn't handle it one night and flipped his lid on me out the window of his house. And so now the Pyrenees barks all night long.
And takes the heat off yours.
I'm off the hook.
There you go.
Steve, Casey's dog Ginger was killed by a bear, so I gave him a puppy.
Got killed by a bear?
Yeah, I got killed in a brush pile.
Killed by a black bear, and I gave him a puppy, and all he does is bitch about it, with friends like these, huh?
Yeah. I am very grateful for that dog, and you know it. I'm also grateful for this little guy behind me.
I've seen her. I've seen Ginger, or not Ginger. I've seen a couple of your dogs on her.
Yeah, no, she's a good dog. She's a phenomenal dog. She really is. She just has like the barking, yapping. Like I put Aaron, like it's not just me, like, cause you always trying to blame me. I put the vibrating bark collar on from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
That battery on that thing, I put it on before work. That battery is dead when I come home from work. I'm not even exaggerating. I have two of them charged, and I have to swap them out when I get home from work.
I honestly don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's crazy.
She's such a good, sweet dog. She does not have a bad bone in her body.
So, Steve, are you planning on hacking your goshawk?
Good question.
No, there's a few things. Some good things have happened since I had my last imprint, and some difficult things. We do have farm cats here to keep the mice and stuff down. We kind of have to have them to keep the rats and stuff, keep them around. I mean, I make my living off of seeds, and you can't be having mice and stuff get in there, and because they'll chew it, especially rats. I mean, rats can chew through frickin' 2x4s.
Sounds like you need a dog.
So we do have some farm cats here, but something I have that I didn't have before is I just built a brand new 40 by 80 pole barn. It's got a 16 foot ceiling on the inside. And so I'm going to do a lot of training and flying in there. I'll just turn her loose in there, goof around, play games with her and stuff. And then we do have about 9 acres of woods on the very, very far side of my property where I might just take her out for a couple hours and turn her loose and be out there. I'm not going to turn her loose all day and not monitor her, but just turn her loose to let her get her wings and stuff. And then I've got 2 more acres that's about a half mile from the house that I was just going to let go fallow this year. I rotate all my crop fields, but I just wound up tilling it the other day and rolled it nice and flat. I'm going to plant just some crappy construction grade grass in there. So I have a big 2 acre field and it's got trees along the edge of it. So I can turn her loose out there and just set it and, let her fiddle fuck around and fly and get all this stuff. And that's far enough away from the house. I don't have to worry about. The cats pretty much stay around the farm. I mean, they kill anything that tries to come to the house or the barns, but there's one that will follow me out sometimes. And most of them just stay within the 1 acre around the house. We have 60 acres here, and then I sold 40 acres to my in-laws, my son-in-law's family. So we got another 40. So I can get pretty far away from the house and not have to worry about that type of thing. So
nice.
Just having the barns would be a blast.
So
that's cool.
I know you call them barn cats, but they're basically just feral cats that you put the word barn in front of.
No, but I mean they live on my porch and in
Courtney's
the
off camera dying laughing right now.
Yeah, they live right around the barn and on the porch, and none of them live in the house. But we feed them twice a day too.
It doesn't matter. We know.
So they don't have to go. I know you're not a big cat fan. I saw your bone arrow.
You're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, Steve. What are we going to do about this? We got to fix this.
They're not breeding, are they, Steve?
A couple of them are because
Steve, what are we doing here?
Up until 3 years ago, every kitten ever born here, I used my big customers have warehouses. A lot of Mexican people live there or work for them. And I would just go in with kennels full of little kittens. El gato, free el gatos, and poof, they'd be gone. They would just, I got rid of 15 to 20 kittens every single year. Now, the last couple of years, it's been, last year, I think it's the first year we actually didn't get rid of it. I think we wanted to put 2 of the kittens there. And no, I think we got like 5 females and 3 of them are spayed. So we're only having out of 2 of them.
So out of those gato frio cats that you're giving away, how many of them are staying inside of the home that they're given to, or just cut loose into the neighborhood?
No, they're all city cats. They live in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
All right.
If they're living somewhere, it's in a suburban neighborhood somewhere. But no,
those would be Somalians.
I know. No, they're not Somalians.
Oh, they're getting them for food.
Yeah.
They're getting them for food. Like Trump said.
Nice.
Aaron's best friend, Trump. No, I'm just kidding.
Shout out to Fat Donnie.
That's the most hate I've ever gotten. I reposted a picture. It might have been one of you at RFK. And then also my daughter, she made this really cool dress for prom. She did the 16 candles thing, got this dress that didn't fit, put a slit in it, made it fit her, put red, white, and blue stars on the inside,
That's cool.
Put rhinestones on it. She redid her shoes red, white, blue, and she's standing in front of a bald eagle statue. And I took a picture and people are like, "Oh, I guess you're raising a MAGA daughter, huh?" I'm like,
"Oh my god,
she's a patriot. She loves her freaking country."
You can't love your country anymore.
This is a MAGA podcast, according to Reddit.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. But I mean, I don't think the flag should be associated with one party or the other. We should all be patriotic.
It's the freaking country.
That's right, Steve.
It's so silly that people assume patriotism is conservative.
Yeah, which is weird because, like, you know what I mean? Like, the country, we have the greatest country in the world. I don't know how good we're doing right now during the soccer game that I'm missing, but hopefully we win.
Yeah,
they're doing really well. I'm very surprised.
I just sent you a picture of the dress my daughter made for prom. This one, she's standing in front of an American flag. If you blow up a picture of it, you see she did the shoes; they were black, and then she redid that entire dress. I sent it to you, Casey.
Oh wow, that's amazing! She sewed all that.
It was too big for her, so she cut it all apart and redid all the stuff, and she added the blue and the stars on the inside.
That's
there's a rhinestone.
Awesome.
There's a rhinestone in the center of every one of those stars she glued. And then the shoes were black, and she bedazzled those too.
Was she homeschooled by any chance?
No, definitely. She's not. All my kids are just super damn creative.
Okay, because usually homeschooled children know how to do all sewing stuff.
Well, they've been to 4-H forever today.
Casey has a bedazzled suit jacket that he made.
No, Steve, I did back to the feral cat thing. I did want to ask you though, and I'm not trying to dog on you, put you on the spot, but have you witnessed with your own 2 eyes them actually killing rats and mice?
Oh yeah,
in the course of their duties.
Oh yeah, they're proud of it. They bring them up. They don't eat them all. They lay them on the frickin'. I'll take a picture of it, especially like September, October. It's getting cold. You'll go outside and there'll be 15 or 20 little voles and mice stuff laying on the porch. They kill them and they leave them there to show you what they've done. And the rats, you just find like a half a rat. You know, they'll eat like half it and be laying in the yard. Usually it's because I'll see my dog rolling in something. I'll go over there and she's rolling on a half a rat.
Oh, I got you.
So
now follow-up question. Do you have a lot of rabbits around your farm and property?
Right. We're pretty wide open here, so not a lot right here. But out in my woods, I do.
Oh,
and then on the north side of the property, since I haven't cut that in 4 years, I have 3,000 shrubs on the north side that I used to cut flowers off of, lilacs and stuff, and I haven't pruned those back because it's getting back. I know there's rabbits in there now because we took 12 or 13 out of there last year with the red tail.
Oh, okay. So the cats are staying where they're supposed to.
Yeah. Do you guys bring Batro with you at all? Hunting?
No, but I have access to it if I need it. Yes. Yeah.
I know 2 guys whose red tails both died from getting bit by a cat.
Yes, it's a big
problem. Within 20. If you don't treat them right, within 24 hours, your freaking hawk is dead.
Your hawk is dead. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's a big problem. No, I have a hatred for cats, not just because of the concept and because of the statistics, just because like I have spots that I go to, and you know I'm getting out of work, right? I'm finishing up my last project. I got the bird in the car. I cut the dogs loose. I'm looking for rabbits. And I'm beating brush, and the sun is like we're done. I didn't move a single rabbit. And all of a sudden, on my way out of the woods behind the warehouse, I see 50 cat houses.
Oh.
And it just like enrages me because I'm like, the reason this is perfect habitat. The reason why there's no rabbits here is because these cats are killing them all. So I have to, it just like at a personal level, it just bothers me.
Oh no, I fully understand it. I don't.
But in your situation, I understand because you're
mostly, and I was never a cat person either until all of a sudden, actually what happened was we had a rat in the house, didn't know it. And it must have been thirsty. So it chewed through the bottom of our dishwasher, chewed through the water return line where it pumps out to the septic.
Yep.
So I happened to be in the basement when my wife turned on the dishwasher, and all of a sudden there's a waterfall coming to the basement. Like, whoa, shut the dishwasher off. Sure enough, a rat had chewed through it.
Yeah, they love that.
And we wound up catching the rat and stuff. And then my kids always wanted a cat. And this is a God's honest truth. I come home from duck hawking, and we had this old stoop up front. It was just kind of a wood thing before we built the porch. And I'm unloading the truck, and I take, I get in the hawk and put my bag down. And I throw a couple dead ducks there, and I go in the house. And I come back out, and there's orange cat came up from underneath the porch and was chewing on the duck. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, honey, I told you I don't want a cat. And she's like, we got a cat. And all the kids, so I got 3 little girls come out like, can we keep it? Can we keep it? And I'm like, yes, I guess we can keep it. So that was the first one we ever kept. And then it was within, 2 or 3 weeks. All of a sudden, I noticed a couple of dead rats in the yard. And we actually had an old cattle barn at the time I was renting out to our neighbor and stuff. And that thing was killing rats left and right. I guess what happened was the farmer had bought hay somewhere else and brought it in because we didn't have enough up here. It was dry, so he brought it from somewhere down south, and all the hay bales were loaded with frickin' rats because we had never seen them till that hay showed up. And then for that whole next 2 or 3 years, they kept reproducing until they pretty much wiped them out. And then it'll be like 7 or 8 years, all of a sudden you start seeing rats again. I don't know where they come from, but we constantly do have mice. But I totally understand it. I used to go with the long wingers all the time out in Minnesota, and I don't know have you guys ever been out long winging with people looking for partridge?
No, I have not for partridge.
You drive section after section after section looking for a covey. Is it a dirt clod or is it a covey? And so the cars are always stopping to glass to look out there. And all of a sudden, every once in a while, you stop. So you're looking out for a covey and stuff, and you look back, and all of a sudden you'll see out of the window, you see a rifle barrel come out. Boom! And you look down the ditch, and sure enough, they saw a cat in the ditch. So these guys are constantly shooting cats out there because that's how they're just killing game out there. Conservationists. It's good. It's actually in the Minnesota regs. If there's a cat, I think 500 feet from a dwelling out in the country out there, you're okay to kill them. Really? Wow. Yeah. Oh, we got to push for that. Feral cats are fair game. New Jersey and New York, it's a felony. What? Felony animal abuse. Felony on your record for the rest of your life. Wow. You're out hunting and you see a cat grab a cottontail in front of you and you put an arrow in it or you shoot it. Felony. Wow. Yes, exactly. So that's why I can't stand it either, because it's the Sporting Chance podcast. We almost had a chance to interview some New Jersey game wardens and have a sit down and talk with them. And my biggest mistake, and I was warned about it, but I said it anyway. I had to send their lawyer the podcast and what we discussed and some of the questions that we like to ask. And I just put at the very bottom, possible discussion about feral cat impact on wildlife. And then they canned the whole thing. Tons of articles about how much damage they do to the songbird population. Oh, yeah. It's in the billions. It's in the billions. Yeah. It's like songbirds is 3.7 billion, and mammals could be as high as the same 3 billion that they kill every year. But yeah, no, I in your situation, I understand because you're making money off your seed. And well, there's a purpose. I told my wife we'd never keep a cat just as a pet. They have to have a purpose. They have to have some sort of functional purpose to live on my farm. I agree with you. I don't like any animal that doesn't have a use to it. Dogs that have no use, I don't get it. Right, my dogs have a use, but then you wind up going on the geriatric thing I actually just put down 2 weeks ago my 17-year-old German wire-hair pointer. Yeah. As soon as mine starts slowing down the field, I just euthanize him. She was still a great pet up until, I gave her to my daughter. Yeah. And she had her for the last 5 years, but the last 5 months, she's really been going downhill. So I said, no, I'll take her and do it. So. Yeah, it's hard. But yeah, 17 years old. And that dog's lineage, my buddy had 2 dogs out of that same litter, and his were the same thing, 16, 17 years old before they ran out of gas. In fact, her sister, I bred her mom, so that was a daughter that I had. I get my buddy Dan, who I told you about earlier, who flies passage goshawks. So she's 17. I said, well, how's Rosie doing? Because I called him on my way back from Reno, and he goes, she's still alive and kicking. Can you hear her? She goes, she's slower, but she's still pretty good. And so I'm like, well, I just put down Loretta. So she's the last of 11 puppies that I made that are still alive. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
The dogs, right? The dogs are almost as important as the birds. I mean, we talk about it at nauseum on the show, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
and I've never, well, it's funny because when I was hunting with Mike with his, we went to a place I hunt.
Your friend from Alaska?
Yes. Along the railroad tracks. He goes, "You want me to bring my dogs?" I'm like, "No, this is right on the edge of a neighborhood and stuff." I said, "The cover is literally 40 yards either side of the tracks. You don't need to go any farther than that, so we can kick it up pretty good ourselves." And we got in there and we put up 3 or 4 birds. It was funny because a passage bird came in and hit her a couple times and she just like ignored it. And I thought, because usually she gets all gonzo, turns on him and freaking flies him out of the country, and then you're kind of screwed for several hours. But she was in the game and ignored it and made a couple passes at her. And if I had my camera up, I could have got her chasing the rabbit with the passage bird. I could have got them all in the same frame, but I was too busy watching and cheering her. Anyway, so
cool.
she wound up catching the rabbit, and he's exhausted and stuff. And he's like, "Dude, you got to slow down. You're going to fall going down those hills and all that." I'm like, "I'm the dog, Mike. I get it and stuff." And he's like, "You got to get a dog." And I'm like, "For where I hunt, it's not practical. I hunt right on the edges of a lot of the cities on the railroad tracks and stuff where I'm going to draw attention to myself, and I don't need that. I hate running into people when it's dark 30. I got 30 minutes and they want to, what kind of bird is that?" I'm like, "I would love to give you an education when it's dark, but right now I got to go catch some."
Exactly. Exactly.
But when I did see his dogs, we went to the other set of railroad tracks. It was in a whole other town and all. That was a blast watching. I could totally see the utility of it.
Oh yeah. No, Mike's dogs are great. They just need a little space to work. They need some space.
Like I said, I got cold watching this. We're just standing there letting the dogs do it. I'm like, "Dude, aren't we going to get in the brush and do it?" He's like, "No, let the dogs do it." I'm like, "I'm not used to that." And it was like, I don't know, 5 below zero.
Jeez, wow.
I'm like, I want to keep moving so I don't get cold.
Yeah, that's
cold.
That is cold.
Purposely, I get boots that only have like 400 grams of thin slate, because you get the heavy ones, your feet sweat so much that you get cold. But and they're lighter weight, you can keep moving, and they don't ever really get super cold, and they don't get so hot they sweat. So I was actually getting cold because we weren't moving enough. So,
yeah, that's good. That's good dogs.
Yeah. So, and what do you got? You got just dachshunds, or you got a spaniel too?
I recently added in the spaniel. Ran dachshunds for 20 years. Added in the spaniel. Best decision of my life.
Yeah.
Best is adding. I can't not have dachshunds. I just can't because of the holes and the tight cover. Like,
right.
The rabbits are too slick.
You ever lose one? Like, it never comes out of the hole?
Yeah, I had one die down a hole. Yeah.
Oh, that would be heartbreaking.
But it was heartbreaking. But that was a unique situation. I was hunting a graveyard, and it was like,
what a terrible place to die.
I mean, it was infested with rabbits. I mean, you would think in
maybe a good place to die. You just fill the hole in and pop a tombstone
stone up, and you're good.
Yeah, the whole story is insane because the cops had to get involved, and it was bad. It was bad. It was a bad situation. But that dog was just one of those dachshunds. Aaron knows, he's seen them, and anybody that runs dachshunds, you get one that's very stubborn and gamey, and it's like very hard to wrangle them. And I didn't even. This is like before, like probably not before e-collars, but before you could go on Amazon and get like a little tiny one that zaps them at 300 yards away. They were like these big ones, and I didn't have any money. I was borrowing I was, 17-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid. I didn't have money for a transmitter. I was just flying my red tail catching rabbits, and she went down a hole, and I'm screaming and yelling. She won't come out of the hole, and just was down there barking. And then I just said, I'll come back in the morning. I put our standard protocol when she would do her thing, because she would do this all the time. I would just put the crate there with her blanket right next to the hole, go home. My mom and I would set an alarm. She'd wake me up or I'd wake her up. We'd get in the car because I didn't have a driver's license at the time. So I must have been 15. And then we would drive over there, and 9 times out of 10, she'd be in there sleeping. And I did it that night, and she wasn't sleeping, and it was silent, and it was about 20 degrees out. And so in the morning we came back, and, I was like, I'm going to start digging. And then the cemetery owner or caretaker was like, if you put that shovel into the ground, you're going to prison for a anti-Semitic hate crime, because it was a Jewish cemetery. And I said, well, I got to get my dog out. So he walks away, calls the police. The police show up. he starts telling them that this kid's a Nazi because he's trying to dig up his dog from a Jewish grave. That was from it was an 1879 gravestone or something like that. I literally remember it was like ancient. And that's why it was ancient, because it was all old and overgrown with bushes and there was holes in there. And the cop showed up and the cop's like, what are you out of your mind? The guy's got his dog down the hole. You got to let him dig it out. And he's like, all right,
anti-Semitic.
Well,
he must have hated dogs.
Obviously.
Well, Casey is anti-Semitic.
No, I'm not. I just recognize patterns. That's all.
You saw the little swastika shaved in the side of the freaking dog.
Yeah. Well, my dog is German, so. Yeah.
That's true.
And so she.
It's a dachshund.
It's a dachshund. So she. My dog is in the hole, and I need to dig it out, and I will rob the grave while she's down there. I trained the dog to go in the grave and steal the gold. And so anyway, the other caretaker, my mom was bawling her eyes out, and the guy laughed. She was like pulling on his sleeve while the crew is there. All the Mexicans are there with their shovels, and they're all like, what the heck is going on? This guy's like talking to the police. My dad shows up. Me and my mom are there. And my mom was bawling her eyes out, and she like grabbed the guy's sleeve and was like begging him to dig the dog out. Because my mom loved the dogs more than me. When I went hawking, I had to get home from hawking. I had to put them both in the bathtub, scrub them down, clean them, dry them off. And then she would take them and they would bury themselves under her covers in her bedroom. They were like my hunting dogs and her pets. So she was crying, and she grabs the guy's sleeve and is like begging him, please let my son dig this dog out. We have to get this dog out. And the guy like pulled her arm away and then laughed at her. And I swung at him, and the cops like grabbed me and like tackled me. And then they told my dad, you're lucky, get him out of here or he's going to jail. And my dad like dragged me away and we left. And then Teddy Moritz drove all the way up. Well, she wasn't that far at the time, but she drove from Mawa. My sponsor showed up. I was gone. I wasn't allowed to be on the scene. And then they called me and said that she died of hypothermia and that she was sleeping in the hole. Is what they told me. But that's probably not what they found, but that's what they told me they found. And then we all went back to Paul and Phil's house, everybody, and we all kind of like had not a vigil, but everybody was there, and Teddy drove. And it was like traumatic, you know what I mean? But all that could be mitigated with e-collars and more regimented training. And that particular dog was extremely intense and extremely driven, and it was very hard to like control her. Half the time I would just walk back to the truck screaming her name, and Abby, my red dog, would just run back at my feet. We go back to the truck, put the bird away, and I would stand there for 30, 40 minutes waiting for that dog to come back, and she would just come running out of the woods 40 minutes later. That's just how that dog was. She just didn't listen. She was just very stubborn. And
it's funny though, you mentioned the kennel thing. I learned that way back as a teenager, pheasant hunting, South Dakota, gun hunting and stuff. This guy running big setters, and the dog ran off. It was right at dusk, and we couldn't find it and couldn't get it cut. It was probably on point somewhere waiting for us to catch up. This was before you could track him down, because we just had beeper collars on. It was so windy we couldn't hear it. And he took off his hunting coat and he laid it there. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "She'll find us and she'll be there." We went to dinner and came back 3-4 hours later, and she was curled up in his coat. She came back to look for us. So he trained that early on. So I actually did that with my old wire, same thing, and it paid off for me one time. Lost her right at dark. I don't even know. I can't remember what happened. She wasn't actually chasing stuff. It just, we kind of got done and she wasn't there. I had no idea where she was. Called, couldn't find her. And like you, back in the day, I didn't have any money to buy all the cool fancy stuff. So I took my coat off and laid it there and went back about 4 hours later. And sure enough, she's laying there like, "Where you been?"
Wow.
So that was a great training thing I learned from my sponsor.
That is a good trick. Yeah. I didn't even think the jacket's a jacket's too. I didn't even think of that.
They come back to look for you and they smell the scent.
Yeah, just leave it there. Leave your coat there. Let them curl up on it and come back and check for them. But the dachshunds are like a sitting target out there. Being,
that's true. 7
pounds, they're going to get taken out by something. So the crate, you think like, all right, they'll be enclosed. Maybe they'll be safe. I had a couple situations this past year where I like barricaded the crate with like snow and debris, like encapsulating the entrance around the hole. So like just thinking like if I had to go home and I had to come back, if a coyote, like it's like inside of there, so maybe the coyote won't get her. I had one. Yeah,
that was wishful thinking.
Well, Franny killed one down a hole this year, and then Maggie had to dig out twice this year. But I didn't actually have to dig Maggie out. Maggie never has to be dug out. She just doesn't come out for some reason.
She's a great dog.
Fantastic
All right, Steve.
dog.
Yeah.
No,
Steve, Steve, what are you planning on hunting with this goshawk you have this year?
A lot of ducks. I mean, I'm going to throw the caution of the wind on the avian influenza because I've talked to a couple people and they're like, they say they can get it from the feather dander, but really said unless the bird breaks into it, which 9 times out of probably more than that. My birds would always catch the bird. And if they wind up in the water, first of all, they got to drag them over to a shoreline. They're all wet and they're kind of puffing and puffing. And you've got minutes, 5-10 minutes before they ever break in. And as long as they don't break in, both of these vets said, you got a 99% chance they're probably not going to get it. Now, if they land on the ground, they're fighting with a lot and they're huffing and puffing and it happens to be, a warm day and the feather dander's blowing, they might be able to breathe it in. But even there, he goes, I don't think that is as bad as actually ingesting the blood and stuff of the animal. So a lot of ducks. The pheasant population actually is up around here a little bit, and the rabbits are way up too. So pheasants, ducks, rabbits. I don't know about squirrels. Maybe enter those later or whatever. I told Casey early on that was the one thing my sponsor told me way back when I was, 14 years old was don't hunt squirrels. They'll bite your bird's toes off. So I was like for 20 years, never even thought about it. And then I went with a couple of friends and their red tails and their goshawks flying squirrels. I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, this is cool. You could just sit back and watch the show. And so maybe enter squirrels, but primarily because I can hunt ducks. I have the best of both worlds because Wisconsin gives us the full amount of days federally that you can hunt ducks. But it does shut down for, I think, about 3 weeks in December, somewhere in there. But Minnesota's runs from the beginning, they get the full season too, but from the beginning when it starts till it ends. So those 3 weeks it shuts down here, all I got to drive is 15 minutes across the border. So I can hunt ducks for like till mid-February, from October to mid-February. All that time. It's harder to hunt them until it freezes up, but I've got all that time where I can hunt ducks nonstop. And even when I have to drive in Minnesota, it's not, maybe it's an hour to get to a couple of good spots. But
nice.
Like I say, I've got 3 trout streams within 15 minutes of my house that hold ducks pretty regularly. And the pheasant population's up this year. I don't have a pointer anymore, but my daughter's got this. It's a golden retriever border collie mix. So it's called a coal retriever. And she's really gamey. She loves flushing stuff. So I've been letting her wild flush the pheasants that are here on my own property and stuff. And it won't be as controlled as a flight as a pointer, but I plan on hunting pheasants with her too in the situation around here. And I think I'll probably hunt pheasants like once the snow gets nice and deep and try to do what I did before I had a dog. Go out, cut them off from cover, get them to fly on a fence line and try to fly them back towards the cover. So
nice. From the fist?
Yeah. Yeah. 99% of my flights are always from the fist. My bird actually would, after like her second season, she would refuse to fly ducks out of the trees because most of the situations she's always pushing them back down in the water, and she pretty much knew through just succession all the time and success that if she can get below them in the water and cut them off, she's got them every time, so she learned. So it would be frustrating sometimes because, this duck's panicked and it's only got one way out and try to flush them right underneath her. And she'd flinch and she'd go, no, I've done that enough. And that's not been successful. So.
Yeah, it's weird. Once they get in the habit of taking them from the glove,
mm-hmm.
and then they're in the tree, even like, and I don't know if your birds would do this, but I would watch like my sponsors' birds because I watch them fly goshawks nonstop. The birds would miss the slip, land in a tree, and then if the duck made a break for it, like over the bank, like into the woods, like easy, like easy slip, they would just like not chase it just out of like habit or whatever.
Right.
Like it's like they get in their little routine of how they catch a certain thing and they don't want to deviate from it.
Well, they look at me and go, that's a lot of calories. I could catch it, but I know he's going to give me an easier one if I get back on his fist.
I think that's, I think that's true.
I think it works for me. That first year, I think he can chase the crap out of a lot of stuff. My Tiercel goshawk, I had him for 5 years. First whitetail jackrabbit I ever saw, he caught. And
really?
Yeah, it was a smaller one because it was like a October jack, so it wasn't a huge whitetail, but he caught it. And I happened to be really close. He had it pinned up against a tree, so it couldn't fucking kick him. It kind of was stuck between them. And then for the next 5 years, he probably chased 100 of them. He would chase them down, catch them 100 yards away, get the shit kicked out of him, not catch him, but he never stopped chasing him because that first one was on the menu. I caught it. I could eat it. It tastes good. I want another one of those. And a week before he died, he caught his second one. So 5 years later, 5 years between the two he caught. And that was a big one. So, and then unfortunately, he wound up, my first two birds, both of them wound up getting asper and dying. And both of them were on long wild flights on pheasants. And I found them in a barn eating a pigeon up in the hayloft. Both of them. Not the same, totally different places, but the exact same situation. Half mile away, no GPS, just regular telemetry, driving around, track where they're at, walking around the barn, go knock on the door. If I'd been able to get in there right away, probably could have stopped them from, I think it's not the pigeon, but it's when they're fighting with them in the hay, stirring up all the spores.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So by the time you get the bird, it's been a half an hour, and both of those were dead within a week. And even the second one, when it happened, I called Pat Reddick at the Raptor Center, and I said, hey, I got to come over tomorrow and start my bird on whatever it was at the time. I think she might have been exposed to it. Got her over there, and she still died.
Really?
Yeah, that was before. Quick? Yeah, that was before they had. I think the cures for asper. I think they didn't have difluconazole or itraconazole back then. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't nearly as good. So,
yeah, that's. So, I don't know. I feel like
pro tip for you guys out there: if your bird's in that situation, get them on asper meds immediately.
Yeah. And if they wind up in a barn, go ask for forgiveness, get permission later, go in there and get them. And because that's, well, like I say, I think I've only had that happen twice where my bird has wound up in a barn. Both times it wound up with asper dying.
That's scary.
I had a Harris hawk catch a squirrel inside a barn once.
Mm-hmm. Didn't die, I'm guessing.
Didn't die, of course. Died later. Got electrocuted later, but.
Oh, that was like that was one of your best birds, right?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, you do it long enough. I tell everybody, you do it long enough and you see everything. That bird that lived to be 19, I can't even begin to tell. Well, she wanted to become blind in one eye from West Nile. And then she broke a coracoid 2 years later chasing a rabbit because she couldn't see the tree. So she had her wing and she broke a coracoid. She hit two windows, got knocked unconscious, hit a hog fence, got knocked unconscious. One time I went to get her and she was mantling a rabbit and I saw this stick coming up through her wing. And I thought, so I went to pull it out of the way and her whole wing moved. It's like, what the heck? And it was a long, sharp, skinny stick, and it went right through the patagial area in the elbow. And it missed the artery and the bone and the tendon. It was so like the perfect triangle you could go through and not hit anything vital.
Wow.
So I broke it off on the one end, and I took her to the Raptor Center, and we wound up having to put her down and cut it from both sides and take it out and stuff. And I remember it was Dr. Julie Ponder, she's like, that's $1 million injury you got there. She goes, I can't believe that bird has no damage from this thing. So,
wow.
I guess my point is that for 19 years, that bird tried to, had so many opportunities where she could have died and didn't. She was like the Energizer bunny. And then she just literally, when she was 17, she stopped laying viable eggs. They were kind of like a snake egg then. The shell wasn't really hard and stuff. And then I had another bird, so I wasn't flying her as much. And then just went out one day and she was just laying by her bath pan, soft and dead. She just, I think, went down to get drink water and just, whatever happens at 19, you get old and you have a heart attack and die. So,
that's not a bad way. That's not a bad way to go. Yeah. And that bird in particular, the photos of that bird are phenomenal because like we talked about in the beginning of the show, your photos are phenomenal. You pointed out some of the photos you sent me. You're like, see this crystal clear rabbit running in the snow and this crystal clear goshawk. He's like, look, her head is cocked to the side because she can only see out of one eye. So she's looking to the side. Oh man. I mean, that's just like, it's phenomenal. I can't tell you how many times that
the first year I decided to fly her with one eye. I can't tell you how many flushes I blew because I'm not thinking she can't see this field of view over here. And when you hunt my creek, you gotta, I don't know, a lot of people hunt things differently, but on my creeks, they're pretty fast moving. So you see them, you mark them, you got to park the car. You got to be at the creek within a couple minutes or they've moved up or down on you.
Right.
And if you come in on either side of them, they're just going to fly over the water and bail. Right. So you got to come in on the group of them. So some are going to go upstream, some are going to go downstream, and some are going to go out over land. And so there'll be times I come in on them, I go to flush and they go out over land or to the right. And I'm like, go. And she's like, she can hear them. You can see her all amped up looking to the left. I'm like, oh shit. So now I had to engineer every flight. So I was always coming in on the right-hand side of the flock so she could always see it. So, and then what I would do, a lot of times I'd sneak up on my hands and knees and I would just lift her up high enough because she's craning her head, bobbing, where she's looking, all of a sudden I could tell as she see, all of a sudden she'd lock right there. I'm like, okay, I know exactly where they are. Sometimes I'd have to get down and move over and then come in on them.
And then you would stand up and yell.
Yep, stand up and flush them. Unless you have somebody else to help you. But 99% of the time I was hunting by myself on ducks.
Did you find that you had more success with a partner, or did you have more success by yourself?
By myself. More because I was always trying to organize where they were, do stuff with them. And it, like I say, it's a time constraint thing. There's some places over in the Twin Cities where I know a lot of guys hunt ducks and they're kind of at edges of suburbs. And it's literally hard they can see you full blown. It's hard to get them off the water because they're so used to humans.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot different than out here where you've got time there. Where here it's like you sneak up on them and you got to blow them out pretty quick. Otherwise, sometimes they hear you crunching, they get used to not, even if it's a deer, they'll move down the stream a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, by myself, I did have a lot more luck. Unless it was my kids. And my kids knew what I expected and what we were going to do. Because I would tell them ahead of time where to go and what to do. And there was no question. Because if it's a falconer's first time out, they don't want to F it up. So they're worried about doing something wrong. Where my kids would know, I'd say, go down there or whatever. If you see them, give me a sign. They're farther away or they're closer to me. They would kind of spot for me a little bit. And then if two of you come in, you can pinch them. And almost most of them go out over land. And they don't go up and down the creek.
Yeah.
So. But.
Yeah, I've heard. I only asked that question because I've heard that from guys that they have surprisingly more success a lot of the time by themselves than with other people that are there to pinch and get them up off the water. And you would think, with more people, you'd have a better chance of pinching them and getting them up the water. But it's like a lot of times when you're by yourself and you just take that extra time to line them up and just rush them and yell. And it also depends on the ducks, like you said. If it's like city limit ducks and they're not scared at all, you have to practically get in the water with them to get them off the water.
Right.
Ducks are.
And then sometimes too, you got to watch it too. If the bird gets into them too quick, they bail.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you actually have to stay back a little bit. There's sometimes that, depending on where the part of the creek is, I'll stand back a little bit. I'll just start smacking my leg, making noise, and you can hear them get nervous or whatever. And once they get nervous, then if I just kind of hold her down below so she can't see the creek yet. And then they see the top of my head bobbing up and down, and then they take off. So once they're going and she's already on their way, it's too late for them to bail back in. They see the threat from me and not from the hawk.
Yeah.
But
yeah, very fearful. Wild ducks are almost easier in a lot of senses.
If you can get them to break over land. Yep.
Yeah. It's the ones that are calm and kind of know, and they're not really that scared. And then they put back in. And then once they see the bird, then it's like, they don't want to leave the water.
Oh, you can throw snowballs at them, sticks and stuff. They're like, I'm not getting up.
Yeah.
So, and that's almost not as much fun. I always say, those are the confidence builders too. I had a good friend of mine come over here because he was, he caught 100 ducks and they're all city ducks and all this. Come on down to my creeks and stuff. And he got down. He had a Finnish tiercel. It was a good hawk and all that. But like you said earlier, when your hawk was chasing the lure, the coursing thing, where she just kind of fought. His bird did the same thing over there because the city ducks, they get up and they fly and they're just going to fly and land down in the creek a little ways down. So they're not flying that fast. These are getting up and they're going out of dodge. And his bird would get in behind him and stuff. And after a fourth or fifth one, he's like, boy, these things are making my bird look slow. I said, no, your bird just isn't used to having to fly that fast. Your bird could catch those. But the things she's been chasing aren't anything like these, So
right.
It was kind of humbling for him. He's like, man, my bird sucks. I'm like, no, you just got to fly him enough and your bird will figure it out.
Yeah, you have some legendary in your neck of the woods. You have some legendary. I've seen some of those videos from Ian Anderson, Joe Hentz, right? I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got some, he's got casts of Harris hawks and 700 ducks on a 3-foot wide stream. And they just throw a snowball and 700 ducks get up, and then you just see 2 Harris hawks come through and just each grab one and go on the other side of the bank. It's like, I mean, that's a 20+ hour drive for me, but I've thought about dude, I got to get
I've plucked at a lot of those places or those guys too. Actually, I used to hunt a lot of those places before they're 25 years ago, where the city was on top of. But now you run into people that people call the cops on you and stuff, and we have permission and stuff. And I try to be as discreet as possible because all it takes is one person within the community that says, hey, I don't think they should be doing this. And you get 90% of the people are apathetic, well, it doesn't bother me. I'll sign the petition to not do it anymore.
Yeah.
They could care either way. So I try to not, I don't go over there as much as I used to.
It's hard.
I haven't been over there hunting for 10 years. I've gone over to watch other guys fly. But
that's the world that I live in.
Yeah.
What you're describing. That's what I live in. I get people asking me if I'm allowed to have my bird. That's the kind of people I'm dealing with. I'm polite and respectful. And then they start asking, well, are you allowed to have that bird? I don't know if you're allowed. I think you need some sort of a license to have that. I'm like, listen,
you see
lady,
the band on the leg here?
Take your poodle and get back in your house, please.
I had a lady a couple of years ago. It was right at dark. We just got the bird down there. They turned a railroad thing into a bike path, and it wasn't cold enough out. So this lady was out walking, and we come up. She heard us calling the bird down. We get, what do you got there? And my daughter said, well, it's my dad's red tail. And so she's like, oh, do you mind if I take a picture? And I walked up and I said, yeah, that's okay. Go ahead. So she takes a picture, and it wasn't until a couple minutes later I realized she hit play on video. So then she held the phone to her chest, so she's shooting video. and I didn't realize at first. She goes, so where do you live? I said, I live across the river. Oh, what city? I go, just across the river over in Wisconsin. Oh, so what was your name again? I'm like, I'm Steve. What was your last name? I said, well, this is my daughter, Bethany. And that's what I realized she was smart about it, because she'd ask like, what do they eat? What's your name? And blah, 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 blah. And what, what kind? So she was trying to get the information in between all these other questions and stuff. And I looked at my daughter. She looked at me, nodded her head at the phone. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I understand what she's doing. I'm like, okay, see you later. But she was trying to be one of those people that go to the city council. This guy's killing rabbits down by the railroad tracks, and I don't like it, and my friend doesn't like it. So we wanted to outlaw it within this city. Yeah,
despicable, disgusting people. That's why it's like people get mad at me. I have a couple videos, like me and Aaron ran into us. This wasn't just like a passerby that was giving us a hard time. This was a mentally ill or drug infested individual that we dealt with at the Jersey meet. I mean, that guy was legitimately, tripping on drugs, but that guy wanted to fight us over flying our birds. And he was like stepping to us, and he kept doing his thing and kept pacing up and down and clenching his fists and doing this, setting his car alarm off, blowing air horns. And then finally I stood by the road, like I was kind of standing back by the road while Aaron was working with his guys from North Carolina. And this guy walked past me, and then I just looked at him and I said, what's the problem, man? And then he mouthed like F you at me and was like looking at me like, and then I started filming, because I'm like, all right, if this guy starts going crazy, I got to have evidence. But then I kind of got into a verbal altercation with him and basically told him dude, don't if you want to fight, I'll fight you. Just, what are you trying to do right now? What do you think you're going to do? You think we're scared of you? And I posted the verbal altercation, just because, not the entirety of it, because it was very intense, but I got a lot of hate from the falconry community. And I'm like, at a certain point, Steve, you got a lady covertly trying to film you to get you in trouble. We have a guy blowing air horns off at us. At a certain point, it's I understand, I don't want to make falconers look bad, but at the same time, this person's a complete scumbag.
Oh, they're treading on your rights.
Yeah, I don't need to walk around on eggshells while you're blowing air horns off, setting your car alarm off, and physically trying to threaten us. I don't bro, at a certain point, it's just man to man, birds or no birds, I'll smack you across your face. I don't understand, and I got hate specifically from a guy in your area, Tyler Forklift, I think his name is. Forker?
I don't know.
Fork Dick? I don't know, whatever. Yeah, he has a big problem with me for some reason. I even reached out an olive branch to him, invited him on the show, and he turned his nose up at it and everything. So I don't understand, if you hawk in the middle of nowhere and you don't deal with that, obviously an altercation like that would look like, oh, well, maybe you could have handled that differently. But it's when you deal with it every day, I'm legally allowed to fly my bird here. I got an hour max of daylight to fly my bird. And I got somebody harassing me, trying to get me in trouble over nothing. And I'm being polite. Finally, it's all right, lady, I understand you're filming me, trying to get me in trouble. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. And right, Aaron, how many times were we trying to, Mike was basically kissing the guy's feet, trying to talk him off the ledge.
It was a good 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, Mike's
that they were talking to.
He was so nice.
He was looking for something.
I was going to give it to him. I was not in the mood.
You know what though? When you say he's looking for something, I had something. I'm not trying to one up you, kind of like that.
One up me, please.
No, I was trying to hunt this here. It's by a university, and over the years, the student housing has moved out. So you lose site after site after site. So there's still this little chunk of property left, and I was hawking down that, and it ends up in a residential area where there's a old barbed wire fence that comes to a corner post there on the edge of this one house. But there used to be a farm on this side of it, but now it's student housing. There's apartment buildings there, and bird went up in the tree. And went out there and I started beating the brush, and a rabbit ran out and around it, and she came down, just missed it, went back in. I'm like, oh, when she went back up the tree, and this guy comes running out of the porch of the house there, and there are no trespassing signs. And I wasn't trespassing. I was right on the fence trying to get it. I wasn't trespassing, but I was. The whole shrub thing went on both sides of the barbed wire fence, and he's screaming at me and stuff. And I'm like, I said, okay, you know what? Fine. I said, if you have a problem with it, and he's like, get the F out of here. I'm going to call the cops. I'm like, okay, dude, don't settle down. Same thing, settle down. So I call the bird down, and all of a sudden I hear him coming. I hear the snow crunch. He gets right behind me, and he's like right up on me. He's videoing me. He's like, I'm called the cops. They're on their way. I'm going to, you're going to get in big trouble. He goes, just on and on. And he was like all goth, black hat on, big gate, not to, stereotype, but he looked like he was going to freaking flip out.
He was up to no good.
He was like a bad Duck Dynasty looking dude. Not a good one. And he's like, and I could feel him like right behind me. And I'm thinking, how am I going to drop the bird and hit him with my stick at the same time? Anyway, I get back to the car, and he runs in front of my car, and he takes a picture of the license plate. Well, it says falconer. How hard is that to remember? Yeah. So I put the bird in the box, and he's like, and I put the bird in the box, and I close the tailgate, and I lean up against the car. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm waiting for the police. He goes, you are? I said, yeah. He goes, because he said, I got your license plate. The police are going to track you down. I said, I'll wait. So while we're waiting, he's in front of the car, and I'm by the driver's side door. We're talking a little bit, and I said, what's your problem? Why are you so upset with this? I said, I leave right away. He goes, I'm just so sick of people cutting through all the time. And I started looking around, and all of a sudden I started seeing like McDonald's wrappers and Dairy Queen stuff. And what used to be a field, now the kids are cutting from the student housing to school. And I said, yeah, I bet that is a bitch. I've been hunting here for 20 years. There's literally nowhere left to go. And he goes, and my dad's got Parkinson's, and he's starting to get Alzheimer's, and he really likes we feed the birds and we feed the rabbits. And if you would have killed one, it would have broke his heart, and he was watching you and stuff. And I said, he's got Alzheimer's. He said, yeah. I said, my mom had dementia, and I watched him almost kill my dad as she got older and almost died. And he almost died because of what she was going through before she died. I said, it sucks. I'm sorry it's happened to your dad. So also we hit common ground. And then within 2 more minutes, he said, well, what's the bird's name? I told him, and what are you doing? So I explained it to him a little bit. And within 5 minutes, he just had all this rage about what was happening to his dad's animals. All the stuff was about his dad. Right. And then the cops show up, and the cop gets out. He goes, what's the problem? He goes, oh, nothing. We're good now. You can go. And he walks in, and the cop's like, what the hell? And I kind of told him, I said, well, I was hunting with my bird, and he saw the bird go up to a rabbit, and he was upset because his dad likes a rabbit. I volunteered to leave, and he was really upset, but he's cool with it now. And he's like, what do you mean your bird? So I flipped open the tailgate, showed him the bird. He was super excited. He gets out his car, detectives or whatever, his officer so-and-so. And he goes, anytime you're back in River Falls, call me. I'd love to see this. So it went from a shitty situation to learning that he was just having a bad day because of his father being ill. And we found common ground. And then, the cop actually did come out with me a couple weeks later. Thought it was the coolest thing next to sliced bread. So,
yeah.
But that guy you dealt with, he had some other shit going on in his life. Yeah, he was trying to take it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's got some long-standing problems, this guy. We're going to go back and see him next year.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron wants to film the whole thing for a YouTube video. I mean, it's because Aaron's apprentice, who's an excellent guy, gung-ho falconer, really good guy.
Super nice.
Shout out to Mike, best guy in the world. He looked at properties around the meat hotel, and before the meet, he called landowners and pitched to them the idea of flying our birds and hunting there. And he got permission on what was it, Aaron? 150 pristine, beautiful acres with hedgerows and perfect rabbit habitat. And he worked hard to get the permission. So we pull on the street, and then long story short, there's a guy, the neighbor that lives in a little tiny house at the dead end. I guess lets his dog run there and acts like it's his property, but it's not. Mm-hmm. And he did not want us on the property. And he was just deranged about it.
Yeah. That's another thing. When I get apprentices that want to do it, I've only sponsored a few people, but I always tell them one of my biggest advices for you is try to find at least 2 new hunting spots every year, because guaranteed you'll lose one this year.
Smart.
It's going to be a parking lot or a Walmart or a development. I mean, you lose so many spots, and that's case in point. What happened to that one? It just kept disappearing and disappearing.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good that you found common ground with the guy.
It's funny too. You talk about the internet and how quick things are, and my daughter, we go there now when the kids are on breaks, so there's no students around the whole university. And we are there. My daughter's bird was actually chasing these squirrels in this cottonwood tree. And all of a sudden she takes off towards the campus and she flies like 300 yards across. There's nothing there but a parking lot and open field in the building. I'm like, where is she going? And she's stroking. I'm like, what in the hell? And all of a sudden, boom, she hits a window in the building and goes to the ground. I'm like, oh my God. So we go running over there. Well, halfway there, I was sucking wind because it was knee deep snow and I was dying. And I wanted to get there for my daughter because if it was dead, I didn't want her to see it. Right. So I'm running over there. And as I get there, I get closer. I see there's the parking lot, all the snow's humped up there. And there's a bird feeder right in front of a window there. And I can see her imprint on the window. And then down below, there's some shrubs there. And I can see her wing sticking out of the hole. And I'm like, what in the hell? And I thought, is she dead? So I pull her out of the hole and she's kind of dazed or whatever. Well, all of a sudden I'm getting her, making sure she's okay. And I hear a woman knock on the window and she's looking out. So there was a teacher staying there over break and she saw the thing happen. There was a squirrel on her side of the bird feeder. So my bird saw the reflection in the window.
Oh,
so when she hit the window, the squirrel jumped off and then she scrambled over, tried to get her. It kind of pulled her in this hole. And so I got there. And so then same thing. She comes out, can I take a picture? Blah, blah, blah.
So you had the squirrel. You caught the squirrel.
She didn't get the squirrel. She got a hell of a head. She got a hell of a headache, but she tried to follow it into the hole. When I got there, I saw her head and her wing out of the hole and she wasn't moving. I think she had a pretty good concussion.
Oof.
But she did have some fur in her feet. So she got it as it was going in the hole, but it got broke loose. Anyway, so this lady takes a picture. We give her a quick dog and pony show in 5 minutes. I said, I got to get her back and make sure she's healthy and okay. And it's about a half-mile walk back to the car. We get back to the car. My wife pings me and she says, are you hunting over at River Falls? I'm like, yeah, why? How did you know? She goes, oh, because it's on Facebook. I'm like, what do you mean it's on Facebook?
Great.
Well, some teacher took a picture over there and put it on Facebook, and my friend got it and sent it to me. I'm like, this anonymity sucks. You can't even be hunting anymore without somebody learning. My wife learned about it before I could get home and tell her.
That's crazy.
So
you got to just start wearing like a T-shirt with your logo for your seeds. Be like the rarest sunflower
Steve seeds.
I put my QR code on the back.
QR on the back, so when they're taking a picture, it pops up and they can buy seeds. Imagine,
right?
You just start making sales while you're hawking. People.
I mean, that being said, I would still say at least 80% of my exposures to people out in the wild are good or positive.
Yeah, they're almost always good. You just run into a couple people, like you said, where you're polite, then they're polite, and then you realize, maybe for my instance, a couple times too late, that their intentions are nefarious. Like I had a situation with some police officers and they were all being all nice and cutesy and, oh, can I see this? Can I see, what do you got in that bag there? What do you, and I'm opening the bag. Everything that I showed them ended up in like being presented in court. Like it was, yeah. And I was just trying to be Mr. Nice Guy and it backfired on me hard. So I don't know. When I was young, I was the nicest little kid. I was homeschooled, raised right. I was polite. I'm still polite and stuff like that. But I have a new policy moving forward. I am polite to you first. I will allow you to be snotty to me once. I will be polite again. If you are disrespectful the second time, now I return your same energy. So I'm just, hey, how are you? I'm so sorry. Just flying my bird, just trying to get my bird back. Well, I don't want you here. Get the hell out of here. I am so sorry. I'm just getting the bird back. It's a trained bird. I have a license, everything. I'm just going to get out of here. Well, I'm calling the cops. All right, then call the cops then. Do whatever you It's like,
right.
Maybe it's a little too fast. Maybe I should change my policy. But like, I'm just tired of dealing with it. Like, I don't need to be harassed for flying a bird. Like, leave me alone. I'm flying a bird.
We had this one lady one time at a Wisconsin meet. We were hunting along these rare tracks. There's a bunch of townhomes along there. And a couple of people came on and asked what we were doing. And they weren't, you could tell they weren't very happy about it. But they didn't make a fuss about it.
Right.
So this one lady comes out and says, what are you doing? And we told her, what we're doing. She's like, oh, that's actually kind of cool and stuff. And so the next day we were having a haw on whether or not we should go back there because it was kind of public. But one guy, we knew there were rabbits there. And this one guy's bird hadn't caught a rabbit. So well, let's go there and try to just catch one and we'll get out of there. And we go walking up there and it's in February. So it's cold and snowy. And this lady goes, oh, I'm glad you came back. We're like, why? She goes, oh, because I was hoping you'd come back. She goes, I made you hot cocoa and cookies.
Oh,
so nice. We go walking up. She's got a sliding glass door. She's got hot cocoa and cookies there for us. I'm like, that. What a great thing that was.
Yeah, you definitely have some. Yeah, it's always good to be polite to people.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like whenever we go out west, I've learned a couple things, long winging and stuff. If you want to get permission to hunt on some of these big farms and stuff, and you're like in Iowa or Nebraska or South Dakota, you go to a local store and you buy an Iowa hat or a Nebraska hat or whatever, South Dakota. And so when you go walking up, you're already wearing their emblem and you're already kind of in there. And we always sent our friend Andy because he's so mild, man. I don't think I've ever seen him get mad. He's so mild mannered. There's just something about him, something Mr. Rogers about him that people can't say no to him when he asks for permission. Yeah. You go, so like, Andy, you go get permission. It's like 9 times out of 10, he goes and gets permission. And the one time he doesn't, it's because the farmer's not home. The wife couldn't say yes because she didn't know if the husband would be mad or whatever. But yeah, he was always our go-to. Like, you're good at it. You go ask for permission.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to have a couple of. That's not me.
Yeah,
I mean, that's Aaron.
That's Aaron.
Aaron is that guy 100%. He is very he's psychology. He's got a master's degree, so he weasels into their into their brain, into their frontal cortex, like Magneto or something. And I think so. No, that's not Magneto.
Professor X.
Professor X. He's like Professor X, and he like gets in their brain, and it's their idea to let them hunt the whole place.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
So, Aaron, remember that when we go to the NAFA meet in Iowa this year. Steve, are you going?
Where's that in Iowa?
I have no idea, but I'm going. That's all I know.
We went. I was at the meet in '99 or 2000 in Iowa, and
was it good?
We found an Amish kid. Actually, he was breaking horses. Found an Amish kid that was breaking horses. You know, he's actually literally breaking them so they could be ridden.
Yeah.
And he loved the birds, and he took us, and we found some white-tailed jackrabbits. And now I can't remember his name, but he learned about hood making, and now he's like a world-class hood maker. Like
really?
he makes the best. I can't remember his name, but he's got like a 6-month waiting list.
Wow. Probably like Ishmael or something. Or Levi.
But that year was so warm. It was like beyond warm. It was hard to find stuff. And then a front came in overnight. It went from like 70s and 80s, which is not normal for November, to all of a sudden like 20s and 30s. So it was hard to find game. It's hard to find game that year. Anyway. All right. Yeah, well, actually, if I don't go hawking, I might just swing down and say hi or whatever, because depends on when it is. I think
I think they went back to their standard schedule. That's just like Thanksgiving time. So
yeah,
but it's the closest a NAFA meet will ever be to me.
Yeah.
So like 17 hours under 20. So I am definitely going to make an effort, and I believe Aaron is going to join me.
Well, I'll have I got 2 grandkids now with the kids. If I did, I'd probably just sneak down for a day and go out, take the camera with and go hawking.
But Steve, I mean, we're pushing 2.5 hours here. We covered a lot.
I don't know how much you're going to cut this down to, whatever. And I don't know if we stuck to anything that
I don't know if there's anything to really cut down. This was a phenomenal conversation. Is there anything we didn't cover?
No, actually, I forgot to ask Aaron about what he plans on hunting his bird with and stuff. And how are you planning, since we're both imprinting a bird? Is that bird just like living with you 24/7? Like mine goes to the bank, goes to the store, rides in my truck.
More or less. Yeah. Just rabbits. The water doesn't freeze down here, so ducks are really hard to get slips on.
Do you guys have quail at all?
Not really.
Yes, he does. Okay. Yes, he does. The answer is yes, because he has more than me. I have 0. So Aaron has some.
I've caught 1 wild quail over the years.
Okay.
And
the fact that you have them there.
Wild coveys are very hard to find, and you got to have the dogs to locate them.
So are you going to stay away from squirrels because you have a tiercel? Is that why you're staying away from squirrels?
I don't think. Yeah, I have a hard time imagining him dealing with squirrels, so I have a red tail to do that. So.
Right.
He's got 2 1,300-gram red tails sitting in the in chambers. So you don't. This is what I was trying to tell him when he's like, "Oh, I kind of want a female." I'm like, dude, you have 2 giant red tails to catch squirrels. This is going to be your rabbit bird. You're going to slay rabbits with this thing. Absolutely slay them.
We'll see about that.
No,
well, Steve, thanks for coming on, man. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys too. I look forward to, now that I know you guys, I know a couple new falconers and stuff, sending pictures and shooting the shit. It's always fun to go outside your own sphere of people to hear different things.
And we're definitely going to post some of your pictures on Facebook when you email those to me.
Okay.
Yes, could not agree more, Steve. And that's selfishly, that's part of the reason that I personally, one of the many reasons why I enjoy doing the show is I get to like sit and just chat with like awesome falconers from all over the place. And it's like, it's kind of selfish if you think about it, because
no, but it's cool though. I mean, it opens up. Like 20 years ago, I never had this chance to meet you guys unless I was at a meet or something.
Exactly.
And it's the same, totally 180 degrees. when I was doing cut flowers, the only way I could do cut flowers because it was local. But now because of the internet, Instagram, and Shopify, I now can sell around the world and stuff. And before, my only recourse would have been to go to big seed company, and they get 98% of the profit. I get 2%. They make shit. Well, now I get 100% of the profit and can do it. And 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been available to a guy like me. So it's being able to meet you guys on here is, you couldn't do it. It's really, and just to hear the way people do different things in falconry.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. I mean, I can just tell from both your personalities and stuff that when you guys talk numbers or you talk about, so you do certain things and all that, it's not bullshit. It's just the way I stopped talking about how much head of game I took because I was, bragging or boasting. And I'm like, fuck it. If you don't believe me, you don't believe me.
Yeah.
And, just go out with me sometime and see and stuff. And this doesn't need to make the cut or whatever, because when I was really back in the day, jumping the shit out of the bird and just flying this bird with a massive engine. I wanted to push it one day and see what she would do. So I started out in the morning, and because I live in Minnesota, Wisconsin, I can take limits in both states, right?
Tell me you did both.
We caught 15 head that day.
Wow.
It was ducks, pheasants, rabbits, and the occasional squirrel I actually caught. But I caught a limit of ducks in Minnesota, a limit of ducks in Wisconsin, a limit of pheasants in both states.
Wow.
I don't know how many rabbits it was. And then it was, but I did some catch and release so I could keep going. And then I got back home to the creek, and I was going to go for one. I drove past this one. I'm like, oh, that's a dead bang set. I'm going to get a good picture out of this. Dead bang. They went right over to the land. She comes in underneath them. She pulls off to a tree, lands in a tree, and turns around and says, I've been doing this all day. Give me something to eat.
Yeah.
But she caught 15 head in one day, 4 different species.
Wow. Yeah, that's I've never even been close to that.
I always said she wasn't the brightest bird, though, because she traded me a big fat mallard for part of a quail leg.
Yeah.
And I put the hood on, and she'd be like, oh, darn it. So
yeah, you were pimping her out that day, but that's okay.
Yeah, by number 16, she said, after you, I'm done. But I remember calling Layman, and he goes, how many did you get? I go, 15. He goes, 15 rabbits? I go, no, I got ducks, pheasants, rabbits, and a squirrel.
Oh, my God. That was phenomenal. Good. That's awesome.
That's a day.
I feel comfortable telling you guys because, and I have the pictures to prove it. I just don't show them anybody because,
Yeah, obviously. But I live same as you. I live in New York, and I could leave the end of my street and make a right and be in New Jersey in 3 minutes. And then I could be 20 minutes. I could be in PA.
Oh, okay.
So now you just put something in my brain that's going to be a problem.
You need to do that. Yeah. Jersey, New York, and PA rabbit limits.
I got 3 goshawks and a mystery bird that I could try to accomplish that with this year.
Yep. Just got to buy a license. The cool thing about Wisconsin also, when they rewrote our regs like 10 years ago, we were going through the federal rewrite, and I was sitting there with our president, Ship, and we're looking at him like, do you read what I read? And he's like, yeah. And when we buy our falconry permit, maybe this is the way it is in your state, but we buy our falconry permit, that's also our hunting license. We don't need to buy a hunting license.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
If we want to hunt pheasants or ducks, we have to buy stamps. But I buy when I get my falconry permit, it's good for 3 years. It's $75. That covers all my rabbits and squirrels for 3 years for $75.
Okay. That's we have to up our game in the East Coast here because that's some slick legislation. We need that.
I looked at him and I go, should we approve this? He goes, yeah, right now. we should approve this right now. So
no, it's New York. I got to buy my tag, and then New Jersey. Now that I'm out of state because I used to live there, now I got to spend 120, and then PA is like 120 or 130 for the whole year. Brutal.
Well, Minnesota, like 15 years ago, was in a financial pinch with their DNR, and they did this thing where you could buy a lifetime hunting license. It was expensive, but actually, if you even left the state, it was still good. So my friend Dan bought one. He was moving to Wisconsin, so he bought one before he left Minnesota. So, and every year they send you all your tags and stamps and everything. Wow. He doesn't have to buy one for the rest of his life.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's almost a good deal though, because I looked at New York's lifetime, and the lifetime I think is like $1,500.
Oh, it wasn't that much for it. It was like
but it's like but it's like everything though. It's like your your deer tags, your small game tags for like the rest of your life. And I'm like, I'm only 35. Like if I spend $1,500, I would make my money back in a couple of years for sure.
Yep.
With all and especially Jersey with all like the permit, like your buck tag for late season, your this, that, the other thing. Yeah, I would definitely do that.
Our deer hunting season is one license you get, a buck and 4 does on one license.
That's
for whatever
nice.
it is, $40.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Jersey's very liberal that way. It's bucks they're more strict with. And then it's a lot of the zones, at least where I live up here, it's like literally unlimited does.
Yeah.
Unlimited.
Yep.
You can literally kill as many does as you want. And there's like open season on them, as many as you want.
We got some friends south of us that have like 5,000 acres and they have depredation permits. They can shoot deer 365 days a year.
That's nice.
So anyways, I know we've been chatting quite a while here, but
that was great, man. It was an absolutely great conversation. Thank you, Steve.